Hello one and all, and welcome back to Final Drive Sim Racing. Hello and welcome back. It's Thursday, which means Final Drive Sim Racing, and once again it is endurance night. So we've got a 2-hour race coming up. We haven't had quali yet, but we have got a 2-hour race coming up, and we are at round 5 at Watkins Glen International, and we are glad to be back here after being here recently in touring cars as well. So it's a long endurance, so it's a qualifying of 15 minutes, a race of 2 hours, and we do have, as always with the endurance races, variable weather. So what that will look like, we do not yet know. And your commentary team, as always, is myself, and I am joined tonight at some point by Luke Dugdale when he gets home from work, and I do have with me Aaron Markham. So Aaron, welcome. Unfortunately it's not picking you up, so let me just refresh that and see if it will pick you up. Where is it? There, and done, and there you are. It's not playing ball, but you are there, sort of somewhere.
I am here.
Yeah, there you are. Here. It's sort of got you. It's lost all of my pre-settings just for that
of
particular
course.
part. You know, to make you just you and not all the background of Discord. But I have got you. Just got a bit of Discord background surrounding you. But anyway, welcome, Aaron. And here we are.
Hello.
Watkins Glen. Great little track.
Yeah, it's almost like I can't remember what we described it as collectively, but it's kind of like all the sort of little best bits of every track thrown into one, isn't it? You've got elements of Spa, elements of Silverstone, elements of Suzuka. Awesome little place, class place for these cars to go to, and definitely going to be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, you're dead right. Sorry, my seats just decided to start going down from this one. I was just slowly getting lower and lower in the camera. Yeah, you're right in what you're saying. It does have a little bit of everything. It's a track that we love driving at, and hopefully it'll give us some good entertainment this evening as well. That is the hope, anyway. So. Yeah, we'll start off tonight just by doing our little track guide. So I've had a bit of time this week to get a track guide in. So this is Watkins Glen from the point of view of my Honda NSX. So here we go. Hello and welcome. First track guide I've been able to do in a while, but we got opportunity to do that now today. So here I am back in the TCSRL branded Honda NSX, and we're going to take you on a lap of a new track for us, one we haven't been to before, at Watkins Glen. So let's take a look at what the drivers will be contending with this time around.
Green line, give it all you got.
So as usual, we are in hot lap mode. Taking down, so this is the final corner. You want to be on the brakes, third gear, wait for the front end to bite, then back on the power, down the start finish straight. Got a very heavy braking zone for turn one, down to second, get the car turned in, back on the power as early as you can, because this is a long section where you're flat out and you've got this Eau Rouge style corner that I call Faux Rouge to contend with as well, and you're flat on the throttle all the way through there, no lift at all, and then you come down to the dreaded chicane, so you want to hit the curbs as hard as you can without unsettling the car too badly, back on the power, and then just ease off and wait for the car to find the grip, back on the power, up then to the next hairpin, hard on the brakes, get the car turned in nicely, back on the power, down to the next hairpin, again hard on the brakes, get the car turned in. You've got to be patient on the throttle through there. It's so tempting to hit it early, where you will spin out if you do that. Heading down now to the 90-degree right-hander, down to second again. It tightens as you go through there, so it's a bit of a tricky corner. Again down to second, another corner that tightens half the way through, so you've got to be patient again with the throttle. It's smooth with your inputs. Penultimate corner, then you can run a little bit wide, but not that wide. I just invalidated the lap of it there, which was my mistake. Let's go for a fast one. So hard on the brakes, back on the throttle. There we are, and
Well done, mate. Personal best.
148 flat. So that's about the time I was doing when we did the Porsche races around here a little while ago. So yeah, that's not going to be as quick as the fast guys from this league, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what the guys are going through tonight. Great, fun, technical circuit. It's got a bit of everything and should give us some fantastic racing over the next 2 hours. So there we go. That is Watkins Glen from my point of view, and I feel slightly foolish now, Aaron, using the term "let's go for a fast one" and then seeing that I'm 2.5 seconds off the pace compared to these guys on the circuit. But it was a fast one to me, anyway. But yeah, a great track as we said earlier. Really looking forward to this one. It should give us plenty of entertainment. Well, any particular parts of the circuit you enjoy the most?
I think we dubbed it Faux Rouge, didn't we? The fake Eau Rouge up the hill. I love that part. I love that entire sort of first segment of the technical turn one. You can run quite wide, it seems, and not abuse track limits too badly. And you know, you've got it doesn't look that difficult, but it's so easy to gain time by getting a good run up the hill and a good run out of the chicane as well. Yeah, that's probably my favourite part of the track, that entire first segment. It's just so undulating and so rewarding if you're brave and aggressive, but equally just as easy to bite you in the butt if you make a mistake.
Yeah, indeed. Just looking at some of the lap times, it's a lot closer between the field here than we've previously seen. So that bodes well over an endurance race as well, as we watch Ash Humphreys have some fun. And that's at the end of his particular part of this practice session. But yeah, just a couple of updates for you guys at home, and Aaron as well, just in case he's not had time to catch up with the group chat today. So, yeah, 2 hours. We are expecting variable weather. There is no ballast for the endurance event. It is just every man for himself. So no ballast applied to the drivers. Sorry, something stuck in my throat just as I wanted to talk. And it's just to update, the Casataris has decided to leave the league. He's decided that it's not for him. So we've lost one of our potential championship contenders, but fear not, we've still got 3 or 4 other drivers out there more than capable of battling away for that. But shame to lose a talented driver, but obviously we only want people here who want to be here, don't we, Aaron? And that's the key thing for making this an enjoyable experience for everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, clearly some talent in Casataris' performance, and
oh yeah, most certainly.
Yeah, sad to see him go, but at the end of the day, we've got plenty of people here who race and come week in, week out, and you know, it's not like one driver leaving is critical to the league, and we're quite fortunate in that sense. So yeah, totally agree with you. We want to see lots of guys race, but only the guys who are really serious about it.
Yeah, you know, a lot of work goes into these leagues, as much as it is the virtual world as opposed to the real world, but there's still a lot of work and effort goes into making them run and everything else. So kudos to everybody who organises it, and even your own league out there if you're the organiser of another league. We don't discriminate here, and good luck to you. So we are just a couple of minutes left in practice now before we will start our qualifying session. Is qualifying more or less important? You know, it's coming up pretty shortly for such a long endurance race. You know, do you put more emphasis on qualifying or less in this sort of circumstance, Aaron?
Less. I think it's definitely less. You know, we found in the F1 leagues that all the time trial merchants who seem to go for a quali setup just suffer phenomenally in the race. And we're only racing for 30 minutes, and these guys will be going for what, an hour and a half, maybe it's longer.
2 hours, well, yeah, 2 hours 15 if you take quali into account, you know, so.
So, yeah, I think qualifying almost becomes irrelevant. It's about just finding a setup that's perfect for the race, and where you qualify, it is what it is sort of a situation. It's not It's necessarily it's not necessarily critical to a race strategy, the qualifying, especially in the endurance events.
No, indeed. To be fair, I agree. I would have said the same. I was kind of hoping you'd say the opposite, just so I could argue with you. But we'll take that one on the chin. But no, I do agree. I think it's much more important to be stable and consistent for 2 hours than it is to have a car capable of putting an insane lap in as a one-off. But the scary thing about some of these top guys, when you look at people like Ingle and Foster and Kingston, is they're kind of able to do both, which is immensely frustrating for all of us normal people.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say, Mike, do these guys have parc ferme? So when they have a setup, does it carry over from qualifying into the race, or can they change it?
No, you can change it. You can load, so you can have a quali setup and a race setup. So much
In
like
that case, then, I may retract my statement. I was more thinking that these guys would be locked in a setup, which would dictate me choosing a race setup. But if you can change it, I don't see why you wouldn't. Just have a setup where you can be totally banzai in qualifying and give yourself the best chance in the endurance.
I suppose my...
So there you go. I disagree now.
Yes, and I appreciate the sentiment. My counter argument to that is the difficulty in adjusting to different setups in such a short time, because it's not like they have a practice period between quali and the race. They go straight in, and then all of a sudden having to adapt to a different driving style to suit the race car. So yes, they can, but I think most of them don't. I think most of them try to find that compromise.
Green light, give it all you can.
But here we go. Quali is about to start, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of
I
it.
think the only way I could justify doing the qualifying setup and a race setup as two different things is actually having the time to practice with both.
Yeah.
And do basically a full simulation of what that would entail. Without doing it, I think it would be, like you say, a bit futile.
I mean, I'm talentless compared to most of these in this league, but but my ethos was always set the car up for the race and then just small tweaks for quali. Obviously, low fuel, the obvious things, but slight tweaks to the tyre pressures, because obviously they've got to run a lot less in terms of time, and things like that. So yeah, that was kind of my ethos when I used to race with these guys.
Yeah.
But it's there's no right or wrong. I guess if you are able to adapt quickly, then as you say, you can do both. But I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. But anyway, we are here in qualifying now, so we've got a 15-minute session, of which there are just under 14 minutes to go. Most of the guys are on their outlap. And what we'll do is, as we always do, get Aaron to take us around a lap. As Adam Foster comes towards the end of his lap, we'll jump on board, and Aaron, you can take us around a lap of Watkins Glen.
Cool.
Eventually, once he actually gets there. There we go.
Not far away from the start of the lap. Here we go. Here's a lap of Watkins Glen. Down the main straight into turn 1. Quite an easy place to run deep. No corner names really for Watkins Glen, so I can't bless you with that knowledge. Using all the exit curves does Adam Foster. That's very critical in getting a good run up the hill. You want to scrub off as much, you want to keep as much speed going up the hill through Four Rouge, as we like to call it, onto the back straight now. So this will be called the inner loop chicane here, as we know from Touring Car. Very aggressive over the curves, so easy to lose time though if you ruin your run off here. So easy for the car to understeer out wide, and Adam seems to be right on the limit. Seen Ash Humphries take that line there, touching the curb. And again, another corner here where you want to be tight to the apex and run it out as wide as you dare. So easy for the car to spin up, especially with cold tyres, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that in the race. Down to second gear to get that turn in, you want to sort of have a late apex to bite, straighten up the car up the hill as we approach the latter stages of the lap. As we go into turn 8, which is known as heel. Back up the hill now, such a good corner when you've got the car underneath you, it just rips up straight up the hill. And then this is where it all does the opposite. It's slightly off camber and so easy to push the car wide onto the grass. As we build up now into the latter stages of the lap. Turn 10, very easy for the track limits to be triggered here as you go over the curb if you are pushing the limit. And very easy again to destroy a lap into the wall on the outside that dooms very largely over the cars, but Adam seems to have avoided it all and ran a pretty good lap. What's he set, Mike?
It's a 45 flat, which is pretty quick, but I'm anticipating that being challenged by some of our other drivers as they go through.
It certainly looked like there was a little bit more time on the table there, but it was very good to jump on board with Adam. You can see the cars just in all the right places.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly an eye-opener for me, noticing the gears that he was taking some of those corners in. I was a gear lower when I was doing my track guide. No wonder I'm 3 seconds off the pace. To be fair, I literally did one lap. So Kingston does go ahead of him by less than half a tenth of a second. So, yeah, it's going to be tight between these guys as usual. Wes Beekhouse a little bit off his angle into the 44s, 44.8. And Dom continuing his ability to just arrive and drive out of nowhere. Wasn't Europe for practice at all, jumps in for quality, and there he is on provisional pole. He's disgusting's the word, I think, isn't it?
There's certainly other words that come to mind. Disgusting is probably the most PG one we can share on stream. No, we joke. I mean, you could see, he's made a little mistake there, but you can see just the level of commitment straight away without even being in practice. Just going over the curves and sending it, licking the stamp and sending it, I think Daniel Ricciardo would say.
Indeed. And just noticing Ash Humphries is always on a 45.5, is currently half a second up on this current lap, which would put him on the verge of the front row. So we'll see if he can carry that through to the end of the lap. The Humphries,
could this be McLaren territory, Mike?
It looks like it could be. I mean, there are a lot of curbs to run, but based on the McLaren having similar characteristics to the NSX, I could ride the curbs quite hard during my little 2 laps that I did. So I'm thinking the McLaren might be okay, but he does do a 45 flat, but it is only enough for third at the moment. I say only, but the top 4 drivers separated by 0.2 of a second as Kingston does the fastest lap with a 44.7 now. So
wow.
Over to Ingle. Can he compete with that? He's just about to come across the line and start a new lap now. He's got Foster ahead of him, so he'll have a nice slipstream through this first part of the track, which is exactly where you want it, isn't it? Particularly up through Faux Rouge and across that long straight.
Yeah, the hill could take so much out of the car, as I learned with ballast. Obviously, these guys aren't running ballast tonight, but any amount of slipstream. And I think the Aston Martin's probably the only car on the grid that doesn't need it, but he'll certainly take it. And you know, if he connects, he can afford to effectively make a few mistakes in this lap with the slipstream now and still be pretty fast. Yeah,
he's flashing purple, which means he's currently on to set a fastest lap. He is only 1/100th of a second away from pole position, which is, I mean, immeasurable in terms of when you use things like blink of an eye and things. I mean, you can't even think of anything that's quite that fast, but it's a nothing gap, isn't it? We're talking such fine margins here. I mean, that split second decision between hitting the throttle that a little bit earlier or later or whatever, that's the difference we're talking here between these guys.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, I think I alluded to it earlier, but I'll mention it again. You can just tell if the car's dialed in the inner loop alone. It seemed that Dom just didn't even need to take any of the outside line. He was positioned in the middle of the track for the right-hander that follows the chicane, and it's telling me that the car does not need all the road to go through the corners and still be fast, which it's so nice to have that feeling in the car and know that you don't have to be on the very limit to be extracting all the performance.
Indeed, and while you were saying that, he did take a provisional pole back, but again by 3/100ths of a second this time, so a huge gap, massive. You could park a bus in there. But Kingston now flashing purple himself, so can he fight that back again? I suspect he can. Ingle now flashing purple, so I think it's going to the wire between these two. Still got 6 minutes of qualifying left, so still plenty of opportunity for these drivers to change positions a few times yet. Interestingly, Ashley Humphreys ahead of Adam Foster at the moment, but Adam Foster flashing purple now. He is looking dangerous. Half a second up on his best time as it stands. Let's see if he can complete this lap. He's almost there. He's over halfway through now and still showing as 4/10ths up, so this will be borderline pole position. I was going to say he's currently being out qualified by Ash Humphreys, but Wes has popped himself up into the late 44s as well, so any other big surprises out there? That's the question. Damien Humphreys also having a good session. He's up into the top 10. Yeah, so some great times out there so far, and really close between the entire field.
Yeah, interesting to see the difference in lines between Adam and Dom. You know, it's only subtle, but coming into the one of the many sort of sweeping hairpins, I think before the heel, Dom seems to Dom seems to hug the apex of the corner all the way through. It seems to have quite a tight line, but Adam seems to take more of a V. But it seems to be very, very close in terms of lap time. So just fun to see how different cars tackle the track and extract their performance.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just me nerding out about the cars.
No, it's true though, and what was interesting there is while we were watching that, Kingston went to pole. Foster was on for pole, and then made a mistake in the final two corners and lost 3/10ths and ended up third. And then Dominic Ingle crossed the line and went back onto pole. So they've all changed around in a matter of seconds. There is and Ingle showing his 2/10ths up on his time again, which would put him down in under a 44.5, which is insanely quick. And making me want to kill myself after the lap I did for the track guide. Yeah, I'd currently be... I mean, I literally only did 2 laps to defend myself, but I would be dead last, which is nice. Oh, I wouldn't. I'd be ahead of Guido Montagnino, so at least I got that to shout about. But I literally just did those 2 laps. I did a warm-up lap and a quick lap with no setup either. So that's my defence.
We digress.
It's my defence and I'm sticking to it. So, yeah, just looking now. Ingle is up on his time, not by much, but just enough to show as purple. So I think he is going to slightly improve once again, and he goes from a 44.615 to a 44.560. So he doesn't quite dip it under the 44.5, but near enough. So as Kingston, Foster, Birkhouse and Humphreys, have they got half a second in the bag to be able to close that gap down? What's your gut telling you?
I think Kingston's got it. I think Kingston will pull something magical out the bag. I really do. I don't know. I can't even explain the logic behind that. That is purely my gut instinct.
Okay. Seeing as you've put your reputation on the line with that one, we'll stick with him and see if he can do it. Seeing as we're watching that man right now, let's see if he's got it in the tank like Aaron thinks he has. So he is 1.5 tenths, basically 0.160 of a second away from pole position, which is not a big gap. So yeah, if he can find somewhere to improve his already stellar lap time, then he may well do it. But notice he's giving Foster a little bit of a slipstream. behind. Neither of them showing as purple at the moment, but let's see what they've got. Well, Foster is just improving on his time, but it won't be enough for pole as it stands, or even for second. But it's super tight. I mean, it's unbelievable really to have, those top 5 all covered by half a second around a track as long as this is quite astonishing, really, isn't it? As
Yeah, usually with tracks where the length's huge, obviously we've seen bigger gaps, like I think back to Spa. But even with Watkins Glen, even with it being such a short track compared to others that we race at, it's still unbelievably technical. It's effectively like a Hungary style track in the way that there's not really many straights, and there's a lot of corners, and there's not much respite, and to have all the guys so close together, I think it just commends the skill and how talented the field really is.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And just while we were talking there, Foster got himself up into second, so Kingston under more pressure now as he's lost a position, so he is down in third. He is showing as improving on his time at the moment, but so is Ingle, who's showing as purple again. You'll see him on your screen, guys, there. His name is literally flashing in that pinky purple colour to say that he is currently setting an even faster lap time than what he's already done. So it doesn't look like at the moment these guys have got enough in the tank. Foster's had an off, so he stopped. So it is really a shootout between Kingston and Ingle. They're both on a lap, but the timer will run down to 0 before they finish this lap, so these will be their final laps. Kingston will finish his lap first. Ingle still showing his purple. Kingston matching his previous best at the moment. He needs something special out of the last couple of corners. Ingle currently showing
very easy to gain something special as well.
Yeah, it is. Ingle showing us half a second up on his best at the moment. He could do a 44 flat here, which would completely blow our theory of the top 5 being super close out the water. And Kingston crosses the line. He can't improve, so he stays third. And behind Foster, Ingle about to cross the line. He's showing on my screen as just under half a second up. This could be close to a 44 flat. Oh, he's lost a little bit of time at the last corner. It's a 44.1, which is absolutely insane. Takes pole by half a second, which in racing terms is an absolute age. So, yeah, Ingle just blowing everybody away there. So, there we go. We've got Dominic Ingle on pole, Adam Foster in second, Alex Kingston in third. Joining him on the second row is Wed Spearhouse. Ashley Humphreys in fifth, joined by Lloyd Reed. Great qualifying there from Lloyd. Graham Morris up in seventh. That's a really good lap, and I think that alludes to what you were saying about it being a McLaren track, and it's no disrespect to Graham, but he's not normally quite that high. Yes, him seventh, Michael Mooney in eighth, Bart Tonks in ninth, Alan Davis, the best of the Hondas, in 10th. Kevin DeHaan surprisingly low down in 11th. He's been pretty quick since switching to that Aston. Damien Humphreys with a decent qualifying in 12th. I know he definitely concentrates more on race pace, as he's told me that several times. So we'll look out for him making some progress into that top 10. Paul Prescott in 13th, Rich Arnold in 14th. I would imagine Rich might be a little bit disappointed with that. Simpson 15th. Alder in misread that. In 16th. Heaton in 17th. Weavers in 18th. Stevens in 19th. And Montagnino in 20th. So there we go. That is quali and your running order. And we are joined in the comments box by Mr. Richard Arnold.
Good afternoon, evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. And am I right? Are you a little
Good
bit
after evening.
Good after evening, whatever one of those is. Am I right in saying you a little bit disappointed with 14th?
Yeah, Mike, you'd be spot on there. I'm pretty gutted with that, to be honest with you. I was hoping to be pretty comfortably within the top 10, to be honest with you. Don't really know what happened. The laps felt pretty good. the times weren't bad. It's just everyone else seemed to be really quick too.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly in practice looked like you had it, but I mean, we were saying beforehand, quality's one thing for these 2-hour endurance races, but getting it right for the race is far more important, isn't it?
Yeah, if I was going to have a bad qualification, this would be the race I want to do it on, because 2 hours from now we'll know the outcome, and that's quali going to mean nothing really by the end of it. So yeah, if I was going to have a bad one, now would be the race to have it.
We were having a conversation earlier about tyres and fuel and
30
stuff.
seconds.
What can you tell us about how it is for the drivers?
Tyres are going to be wrecked today. It's really hard on the tyres here. So yeah, fully expect people to really be suffering with grip towards sort of the end of the stints. Some people are reporting, tyres going off after sort of 6 or 7 laps. So the time drop-off's going to be pretty substantial, but that's going to affect everybody. One thing that is interesting is obviously with the length of it and the amount of fuel you burn around here, some of the smaller tank cars like the McLarens are going to be tight on fuel. There is potential of having to be a 2-stop round here just to keep the fuel going, or at least some fuel saving. So certainly look out for that.
Well, that'll make things more interesting. We love a pit stop. It lightens our day. Yeah, I can see you guys are just making your way around now. Best of luck. Keep it clean and get yourself up into that top 10 in that beautiful Honda.
Cheers, man. Really appreciate it. Catch you in a bit.
Yeah, see you very shortly. Well, I say shortly, in 2 hours. Adam's managed to get his way in as well. Adam, I mean, that was super tight at the front there. I know you're making your way around, so we'll keep this short, but super tight for quali, but you've got to be pleased with that.
Yeah, very pleased with that. It's a good lap. I was never going to match the Aston, I don't think. Even with the time he set before his last lap, it was, it's a struggle here. Like Rich just said, tyres, fuel, possibility of rain, could be anyone's race, this one.
Yeah, I mean,
Still a good effort though. A good effort to split.
Yeah, I'm
distance.
happy to be second place. Yeah, splitting them Astons. Got to watch Alex though on this bit here, going down this main straight for the first time.
Yeah. Any further questions, Az?
We were saying it sort of looks like a McLaren track, Az, because there's a couple of the McLarens in the top 10. Feeling a little bit more comfortable compared to the other tracks we've been to this season?
Yeah, this is a fun track. The only scary bit is this chicane.
Yeah, the inner loop is lethal. We were just
It's a
alluding to
bit
that
scary.
earlier.
Yeah. Apart from that, the rest of the track feels really nice for this car. So I'm happy.
Good,
Ready
mate,
to go.
good.
Enjoy it, mate, and we'll look forward to speaking to you in a couple of hours' time.
Yeah. Cheers. See ya.
Well, there we go. As always, it was beautiful catching up with the drivers and getting a bit of insight from them. Any major surprises from quali, Aaron, in terms of people out of position? Or
I think Rich was a bit of a surprise, just sort of being all the way down in where he is. I'm just watching the YouTube stream. He appears to have totally... there we go. He's showing us P12 for some reason. Yeah, I think probably Rich was a little bit disappointed. Didn't expect to see him that far down. I didn't expect to see Matt Heaton that far down as well, to be honest, Mike. I thought, Wes has shown decent pace in that Lamborghini. I was expecting Matt to do the same, because he's not particularly been that great this season in the Lamborghini, but I know he's a pretty handy driver, so yeah, probably a little bit of a surprise there.
he's got a fan anyway. Somebody's commented, let's go Matt Heaton, so he's got a fan.
Not to be confused with Mike Heaton.
No, of course, his alter ego. But they are just making their way around on the formation lap, so just coming through the last couple of corners, I believe now, on their way to the start-finish straight, and we will be away. So 2-hour race. If the clock strikes 0 and they're in the middle of a lap, they will obviously finish that lap. If they cross the line with 1 second to go, they still got to do another lap. We had a bit of that last night in the touring cars, didn't we? And the laps just kept coming.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, it'll be over in a minute. Oh no, we got to do another lap.
It just so happens that Brands Indy is ever so slightly slower than a minute, isn't it? So you end up crossing the line with like 10 seconds to go, no matter what.
Yeah. I think we did like 19 laps or something, wasn't it? It was insane. Good fun though, really, really good fun.
Oh,
And,
yes.
so
Yes.
here we go, back to this, and we are on the verge of the start. And there it is, the green light, and away we go, foot flat to the floor, and away they go down the first corner. And already Kingston putting the pressure on Foster. Foster trying to squeeze him onto the marbles, which will give him dirty tyres, and he has to back out of it and take a more reserved line. But Foster,
They're going to be side by side up the hill.
they are, and Foster goes really wide. But he just manages to get ahead, and you can see Ash Humphreys there is getting pretty interested. Somebody's dropped down the order. I can't see who it is, but a couple of people have moved up. But anyway, I think it might just be a glitch actually. But anyway, yeah, they are as they were. But yeah, Kingston looking really slow under pressure from Humphreys. Humphreys battling away there with. Davis has managed to get past Mooney. He's up to 8th already now. He's made up 2 positions. Rich Arnold 11th. Damien Humphreys in 10th there in the background. Back to the battle for the lead. And Ingle looks like he's going to be pretty invincible today if he can keep it clean after qualifying half a second ahead of everyone else. But we will see. It's a long old race and anything can happen. And of course, with the endurance races, back markers will come into play at some point. No question about that. Where did Wes qualify? Because
He was about P5, P6.
I think it's Wes who's had the issue then, yeah, because he's showing us down as 6, but he's just made 2 places up. So I think Wes has had the issue, and that's why everybody sort of gained a position in the early part of this.
Where did Barton Paul qualify, Mike? Because when you said it, I flicked back into the YouTube for those watching at home. For whatever reason, my software won't work, so I'm having to flick between YouTube to see where everybody is.
Oh, Ingle's into
the live stream.
Ingle's into the pits.
Oh, I wonder if he's under-fueled and kept a qualifying fuel in the car.
He's not stopping, so I think it's a drive-through. It hasn't flashed up on my screen yet as a drive-through, but I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, that has given Foster the lead. So I'm just keeping an eye on Dominic Ingle's time screen. So it was a drive-through. Dominic Ingle with a drive-through penalty.
Wow.
That can't have been for 3 lots of track limits. So he must have jumped the start.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked. He was nailed on. He was nailed on. It's going to take a Kyle Army effort of racing to win this now for Dom.
I mean, you could argue.
Effectively 2-stopping.
You could argue it's the best race to have it happen at, isn't it? In that he's got more time than he would have at any other race to fight his way through the field. But you're 100% right.
Yep.
He's got a long
1,000%.
old race ahead of him. But especially in these cars, not so much as we experience in touring cars, but in these cars, plenty of opportunities for overtaking.
Oh, 100%. I mean, as soon as you throw on any amount of downforce and a slightly better brakes, you know, the overtaking chances just double and triple. We've got to be so intricate and so delicate with how we make our moves. The cars are clumsy, really, aren't they, as touring cars? So
Oh yeah.
yeah. Dom, I mean, it's probably going to provide great entertainment to see Dom try and rifle through the field, but the question is, weather permitting, conditions permitting, is he going to be able to have the pace to get back out front?
Indeed, I was just watching a replay as Alex Kingston has set the fastest lap of the race with a 46, and this was supposed to be Dehaan getting past, but it is, I think. Yeah, his livery hasn't loaded properly, that's what it is. That's why I didn't recognise the car. But yeah, that was him getting past up into 16th. And I pressed the wrong button and put the wrong thing on. So there we go. Sorry, just flashing up all sorts of things on the screen there for you guys. Pressing the wrong button as usual. But Foster then still defending from Kingston. We've seen this story before somewhere, haven't we?
Yes, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
I think for Dom and for everyone else, such as Ash and a couple of the guys behind, this battle needs to last for as long as humanly possible, because it feels like Alex Kingston's definitely got the faster car underneath him. So if Adam can just hold off fight his battle, fight his corner, and keep Alex behind, it could bring everyone closer together at the front.
Yeah, there's not a lot between them in terms of their fastest lap so far. In fact, there's less than a tenth between them in their fastest lap so far. But a lot of that could be Alex being held up by obviously being behind him and in dirty air. So yeah, it's difficult to tell for sure. But yeah, it'll be an intriguing battle. And again, the pit stops are when it'll make or break these races, the race for these guys, I guess. But let's just give you a quick run through of where people are then as it stands. Foster ahead of Kingston first and second. Ash Humphreys up to third and doing a cracking job. There's a couple of cars in the pit, so I think there's been an accident at some point. Lloyd Reed in fourth. Wes Bakehouse back up to fifth after whatever happened early on for him. Graham Morris is in sixth, and he's following it very closely at the moment by Michael Mooney. Alan Davis in 8th, Humphreys in 9th, Rich Arnold in 10th. I think those guys will be quite close all the way through this race, so we'll keep our eye on those guys. Heaton doing really well. Michael Brownlee in the chat has said top 10 for Heaton. Well, he's already up to 11th, so there we are, and he's performing much more as you would have liked there. Already up to 11th and on the verge of top 10, so doing a great job so far.
Yeah, great recovery. Must have done what we were talking about with having a race strategy as opposed to a qualifying one.
Indeed. Kevin DeHaan is up to 12th after a pretty poor qualifying by his standards. Guido Montagnino is in 13th, and Dominic Engel, who's showing has made a little bit of contact at some point, has got himself already up to 14th. So and he has done the fastest lap of the race as well with a 45.5. Stevens is in 15th, Zuber in 16th, Bart Tonks is in the pits, Weavers is in the pits, Simpson is already a lap down, and Prescott is already a lap down. So pretty messy there, but it is as it was at the front. Nothing has changed to do in that period where we were just showing you where everybody was. So those watching, cheers, thanks for joining us. Please come every week, we like viewers, and otherwise what's the point? So what are we? Yeah, not even 10 minutes into this race yet. We've already had plenty of action, and Rich Arnold and Damien Humphreys are just swapping positions. Oh, proper tight there between those two. Let's just take a look at the replay and see how that came to be. So here is Damien, just made a slight mistake. Yeah, just halted his momentum ever so slightly. So Rich had a little look. Oh, he sort of had a look and then didn't have a look, and then outbroke himself, but somehow made it into a move. I think is the easiest way to describe that. Yeah, he sort of went for a move, didn't go for a move, then went for it again, then outbroke himself, and then somehow managed to make it work. But then Damien got past again, and that was that. But not a simple one to call that one as.
No, I tell you what though, it shows how much time you lose just by having a little love tap with the wall. I mean, how much more momentum did the Honda have down the straight there compared to Demo?
Yeah, exactly. Surprisingly large difference in speed when they got into the braking zone. But
you might not have noticed it when you were commentating in touring cars, but I did it twice, and I lost 2 positions because of it, and I couldn't get them back. As soon as I lost them, that was it. They were gone.
No, I mean, I can't say I did notice, but to be fair, there's so much going on in touring cars, I haven't got time to think or breathe most of the time. But that's why I'm very glad to be out of the commentator's box and back in the driving seat for the rest of this season now, as our wonderful commentator has returned to action. So I'm pleased to announce I'm no longer commentating on that league. I will be in the driver's seat going forward. But you can.
Is there a particular person who's your teammate, Mike?
Yes, it's you. So
yes, it's me.
ignore the Twitch part there on the advert there, guys. We are on YouTube, so find us on YouTube, TCSRL, and our usual commentator, Mr. Andrew Poli, is back in action. He's the best in the business, calling the action, and I'm back in the Honda, and it's absolutely wonderful to be able to say that after having to do some commentating for a while, as we see a little bit of a close call there on track. But yes, myself and Aaron are now teammates, and we celebrated that yesterday. Aaron with 2 race wins, and me with 2 podiums behind him, a second and a third in those races. And then the reverse grid race, we made absolutely zero progress at all in the 50 minutes, but it was still really good fun. But yeah, it was a great return to action and a great night's racing for you as well, Aaron.
Absolutely zero bias to zero ballast, I should say. Oh no, I was right with bias. Zero car bias to the Honda. We are definitely not in Honda Civics in the Touring Car League, and we definitely don't wear Honda merchandise when racing them.
Or at least you might know, but I do.
I do. I'm not ashamed to say that I do.
You're lucky I don't wear my racing helmet when I'm in my sim racing, just to be a complete and total pleb. Make myself look a real fool.
Bringing the whole new meaning to VR.
Yeah, exactly. It's the reality of the virtual reality, as I say in my intro video of the TCSRL. And Morris has lost a place to Michael Mooney, so let's take a look at that overtake and see how he set us up. So here we are, coming towards the end of the lap, I think.
I'm going to call love tap. I'm going to call wall tap.
Okay, so the McLaren. Oh no, it doesn't hit the wall. But Mooney is all over him like a cheap suit. Into the braking zone.
Oh, I think he just scared Graham there into backing out of it.
I think he thought there was going to be contact, so Graham was trying to avoid the contact and ended up defending a bit of thin air, really. So, bit of a shame, but there we are. Good on Mooney, putting the pressure on him, and he gets himself up into 6. And Humphries and Arnold are having a ding-dong again. And they've switched positions and switched positions again. So again, let's have a look at the replay and see what happens. So here's Rich Arnold, goes up the inside into the chicane, and then they both follow each other off the grass, and then Rich Arnold goes off onto the grass again, and then he gives a position back like a gentleman. But yeah, slightly bizarre, but good that they're having a good old fight here, but struggling to keep it on the circuit there.
No, definitely, and all the while, I believe that's brought Matt Heaton back into the battle, so, you know, could see another position gain for the Lamborghini. Yeah,
absolutely has, you are correct, and we can see there's a good 3-way battle there now, and it's not looking like it's going to end anytime soon. While these are battling away, obviously Heaton has had a bit of free air, but now he'll be in a bit of dirty air, so he won't necessarily be able to take advantage too soon, I believe.
Oh, there was a little dive there, I think. Yeah, the side by side going up the hill.
And he's made it stick, so let's go back. I just missed that, sorry. I thought there was an overtake happening somewhere else, but it was somebody going into the pit. So Humphries through the last corner.
I can't believe it came from that far back, to be honest. The cars look miles away. It seems that like the Honda's got so much more confidence on the brakes. Yeah,
and he just sort of forced him wide almost. There was no contact, it just his presence there really gave Damo Humphries some uncertainty, I guess, didn't it? And he felt the need to move out of the way. So, but it's got Rich Arnold in position. Once again, we see pressure creating the overtake there more than actual driver skill, if you like, for the second time in a row.
Yeah, and whilst I am hogging the microphone, I have just noticed my co-commentator has arrived into the comments box. Welcome, Luke Dugdale, to this evening's Watkins Glen.
Evening, gents. How are we?
We're good.
We are good. Fantastic.
And welcome home from work.
Thank you very much. Managed to shove me tea down and then get on.
You should never eat too fast, it gives you indigestion. Coming from the boy who inhales his food.
I also inhale my food, that's just in case it comes away from me.
Dominic Ingle has just made a move, and he's made a move on Kevin DeHaan, so equal machinery. So this is a nice. Oh, it looks like he basically just pulled out of the way and just let him pass and thought, I'm not going to fight him, I'm just going to let him get back through. So, yeah, just to catch you up, Dougie, Ingle qualified on pole by over half a second and then got himself a drive-through on the first lap. So had to go through and then came out last, and obviously he's having to battle his way back through. So we have a Kyalami sort of situation again, where we may well see a pretty special drive from Ingle, but he's already made up 7 places since that drive-through penalty, and we still have an hour and 45 minutes to go, so still plenty to play for. And just noticing that West Bakehouse is pretty close to Lloyd Reed. The battle between Rich Arnold, Damien Humphries and Matt Heaton is still going on for 9th, 10th and 11th, but Dominic Ingle is the one who's on the back of that battle now. So I think if it's okay with you boys, we'll stick with this for a moment and see how this unfolds, because I think Ingle could shake this battle up a little bit as he gets involved. Don't know your thoughts on that.
How did Ingle end up with a drive-through penalty in 1 lap, by the way?
The only thing I can assume is that he was out of position at the start, so he was either too far ahead. You know, it gives you that box you've got to stay in during the start procedure.
You've got to.
Yeah, so at some point he was, for too long, he must have been outside that green box. And that's the only thing I can assume at this point, because there's no way he picked up 3 track limit warnings in the opening lap.
No, I was going to say that would be surprising.
Yeah, so I think he was probably, if anything, out of position.
So
DeHaan with the spin in the background. And he just lost the back end, and around it goes. But we're going to stick with this because I think Ingle might be looking to make a move here into the first corner. If he is, it's going to be late. No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it. Gets a better drive though. So he's going to be putting lots of pressure on Heaton. Already side by side up Faux Rouge.
That's just made a thought into my head, actually. I think Ingle's a very intelligent driver, where some drivers would have gone for a dive up the inside and actually just waited for the opportunity to come.
Yeah, I think he knows, it's a good point, and he knows where the car is strong, he knows where he's strong. So he's backed out of it to carry more speed through this section, and that's got him the overtake, as we saw there. Beautiful into the chicane, and through he goes. And yeah, I think Dougie's making a good point there, isn't he, Aaron?
Aaron's just nipped off Mike for a second.
Well, this is unacceptable. How dare he?
One join on one leaves.
I've got too much going on. I can't check our personal chat as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm running 3 screens here with all sorts going on. He's sacked. Tell him not to bother.
Do come back.
But yeah, anyway.
I have returned.
No, it's not good enough. You're fired, mate.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so we are now sticking with Ingle. I am keeping an eye on the battle between Kingston and Foster, because it is super close at the front. I've wanted to say something about that battle for a little while, but we're just watching Ingle. While we stick with Ingle, because I don't think he's going to make a move in the next 10 seconds. What's really interesting is that battle out in front between Foster and Kingston, which is super close. Ash Humphries is only half a second behind Kingston, so Ash Humphries is able to keep pace with those guys at the moment, and is battling for the lead. So we'll just keep that in mind. And Humphries defending, but once again Ingle doing what he did on the last lap, where he takes a more defensive approach through the first corner, able to give him a better drive, and he's done it again. You're right. And
you can ask Aaron a question this time.
Yeah. Dougie made a point about Ingle being intelligent there, holding back through that first corner to give himself a better drive and attacking in this part of the circuit where he knows the Aston will be stronger, which is very insightful, I thought, Aaron.
Yeah, it's incredibly insightful, because the gentleman who gave you that comment did it to me last week. So I know exactly what he's talking about.
Complimented there, aren't
I? No, I mean, you've got to play to the strengths of your car, and we both know how fast that Aston is in a straight line. So it makes sense to set your opponent up to have a pool run up the hill, and then you can have the move done and closed off before you even get to the loop of the chicane. which is perfect. The last thing you want to do is go side by side through that chicane. So yeah, boxing clever there from Dom Ingle, and you can't fault the guy for playing to the strengths of his car.
So he is now back into the top 10, which is a phenomenal so far, and he's still got so much time to catch up with these guys. He is, let me just work it out, 12, 18, 20, 21... about 24 seconds off the lead since that pit stop, which means he's gained around about 15 seconds on the leaders during this period. So he's doing really, really well to fight that back. But he...
Could we see Dom Ingle feature on the podium, or is that a little bit too far?
I'm still not counting him out for a race win, mate. I really ain't.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
He was so much faster than everybody else in quali, and you think he's got the fastest lap of the race in traffic, the 45.4. So I think as he fights his way through and as the pit stops come and the field spreads out and he's got more clear air, I'm not counting him out for the race win. But I mean, how close is this battle at the front? Is Foster still holding up, but Humphries is... Oh, we could just see a move here. Foster just ran a little bit wide. And Kingston just gets his nose up in front, but he's going to have the outside now for the next corner, I think, isn't he? I'm trying to figure out where they are because of the mode we're in. No, he's on the inside. Foster just needs to try and keep it there, so he's got the inside line now for the left-hander. He is, and he does just pop it up the inside, but that Aston has just got a habit of being able to hang around the outside at the same speed, isn't it?
How are they still side by side?
Unbelievable racing from these guys. Foster just nudges him out wide, and Humphries just having a little look-see. Wow. Alongside each other all through that section, yeah, and as my esteemed colleague says, excellent racing, that was superb. But Foster ahead of Kingston still, but Kingston having a good go at it. I think there's been some contact between Ingle and Rich Arnold because they've lost some positions. Let's just take a look at the replay. So this is Ingle fighting Arnold for position. They were 10th and 11th, I believe. No, 9th and 10th they were, apologies. And Ingle just got it a little bit wrong. I think he was expecting.
That was close.
I think he was expecting Rich to be a little bit quicker through there than he was, and that caused that. But yeah, that was very close to being an even bigger accident. But huge shame, and that's obviously cost Ingle and Arnold a couple of positions there, which is a shame. But
fair play to Dom for waiting for Rich, though. Could have quite easily just carried on going.
Yeah, I think perhaps a little bit of frustration in his driving there after the drive-through, but Rich Arnold has conceded the position now and let him go through. So yeah.
Mike can flick back to the battle for the lead. They were side by side.
Once again,
this, the side by side again. I can't believe it. I'm getting so excited.
This is it's absolutely crazy. It's bonkers to watch. They're just constantly battling each other. But Foster doing the right thing, positioning the car so he's on the inside of the corners. Oh, he's gone really wide there. I'm not sure if he's going to get pinged for that. But did he?
And all the while, it's inviting Ash Humphries into the battle.
It has. Ash able to keep pace and battle these guys. Is he going to have a look up the inside of Foster? No, he thinks better of it. Takes the defensive approach through there. Will he have a better run now? Up through Faux Rouge. Oh, and Kingston, I think now will have the pace just to stretch his legs a little bit after being held up. Probably, you would say, in the earlier part. But time will tell. Can Foster come back at him? Can Humphries come at Foster? I mean, these guys said they were going to have tyre degradation and fuel issues. I mean, the degradation doesn't appear to be too bad. These guys still doing mid 46s, but they are a second off their pace from the earlier laps. And of course, the car would have been a lot heavier, wouldn't it, Dougie, in those earlier laps, because they would have had more fuel on board as well. So I suppose that degradation is showing its ugly head.
Definitely, yeah, because obviously the cars will be burning fuel, so should be getting lighter. And if you had no degradation, therefore faster, so obviously it's clearly degradation going on if we lose in a second.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of it. We're told it's going to be quite bad, and they may have to fuel save in certain cars that are burning fuel so fast. There may even be a Oh God, what's the words I'm looking for? A
two-stop.
A two-stop. That's the words I was looking for. Thank you, Aaron, for finishing my sentence because I couldn't. I was having a mild stroke there for a moment. But Ricky Stevens has made another comment saying yes, Heaton into the top 10, and he is. Matt Heaton there is into the top 10. So, and he's not far off pressuring Humphries for 9th place. So Heaton having a stellar race so far. And doing a great job. He hasn't really done a lot of overtaking, but he's kept his nose clean, and where others have dropped off, he's just picked his way through the field. So he's doing a great job so far. Matt, not Mike Heaton, doing a fantastic job. But Birkhouse still battling with Reed, being unable to get past. And I just, rather than being negative towards Wes, I'm going to give Lloyd some kudos here because Wes such a good peddler, and Lloyd has kept him behind for what's got to be 10 laps now, which is a stellar job, isn't it, Az?
Yeah, I was going to mention...
I say,
something,
isn't it?
actually,
I'm making you agree with me, basically.
No, I was going to mention this earlier, Mike, when we saw the battle for first, second and third. In the background, I noticed that these two had just been bumper to bumper all the way. Lloyd seems to have come on leaps and bounds since going in the Audi. A lot of the guys speak so highly of Lloyd, so it's very good to see him running fourth, and he's not too far away from the leaders and keeping pace with Wes. We know he's absolutely rapid and no slouch to race in this league.
Do you know what I love about Lloyd? And I don't know if you boys will agree, but he just seems really humble when you speak to him. But he's constantly improving. But he's never cocky. He's never funny about it. He just seems really humble. He's a really nice guy, and I just really enjoy talking to him. But watching his progress as well, because he just gets better and better every race. It seems to me. I don't know what to take that one.
No, I would agree. As you said, I think he's one of them guys where he's all. I was going to say like a dark horse almost. He's in the background. He's still about, but he's always in the background. He's not one of the main names you see all the time, but he's always hanging about in there.
I definitely agree with you, Luke. I mean, you can't fault anything that we've seen this season from the guys, can you?
Definitely not. No. I think I think everyone is constantly up in the game. I think even like Rex Foster now has realised he has to up his game now. It's not just turn up and win. He's got Kingston to battle with now as well.
No, I mean, we mentioned that before, didn't we? When I think it was Zolder, we were just saying how much more competitive the front of the pack is. I mean, we always knew the midfield was close, but it just seems like everybody's up the game.
No, definitely. I would be interested to see if we compare it to last season. If you had it'd be good to see like a driver from season 1, 2, and 3 and see what the progression kind of is in times.
Yeah,
no, that would be quite interesting.
It would. The difficulty with that is the game updates all the time. The cars change. The tyre model changes. So in theory, yeah. But unfortunately, this isn't like Project Cars 2, which stood still for 7 years and didn't make any progress. They've actually made an effort to put updates on this and make it as close to real life as possible. But yeah, no, I mean, it would be interesting to see if we could get hold of that data, people's progress. But as we were watching that, we saw Matt Heaton force a mistake out of Humphries and get the overtake done through Turn 1 and Faux Rouge. And we were on board on helmet cam at the time as well. It's better than F1. What can I say? You don't get this kind of production everywhere. But fantastic stuff there from Matt, not Mike Heaton, which is his new dubbed name, and he's up to 9th, Aaron. So yeah, he was singing his praises and saying he was sort of disappointed in his qualifying, but he's got himself up to 9th. So
yeah, fantastic effort from the guy. Hopefully, I mean, what position is Wes? Wes will be P5, won't he, behind Lloyd? So
yeah,
I reckon if Matt can make up another 1 or 2 positions, that's going to be a class team result and a class personal result for himself. So let's just keep an eye on what happens and hope the conditions stay the same, because it seems to be that the Lamborghini and Matt himself are enjoying the way things are at the minute.
Yep.
Speaking of conditions, is Gallagher conditions due to change? Do we have a weather forecast?
The forecast is potentially for some rain. So there is a possibility. So of course that could mean potentially a 3-stop for some. When they've run the practice servers, the weather, when it has come in, and it hasn't always, because of the way it's very realistic in the way that it runs the variable weather. But when the weather does come in, it comes in towards the end of the race.
Oh, okay.
So we could
mix it up.
Yeah, it could mix it up, and we could have people trying to brave it out on dries. It depends on how wet it gets, I guess, and you know what gaps are and things. So yeah, we could have a Russian Grand Prix from last year sort of situation where Lando Norris broke my heart. And
I was just about to say, hopefully no one does a Norris.
Oh God, that was the most heartbreaking thing. I'm a massive Lando Norris fan, for anybody wondering, and that was the most heartbreaking thing I'd ever seen in my life.
A bit sideways.
But yeah, Ingle is up past Humphries now, and back up into the top 10 for the third time today. I think the third time. Yeah, he's still battling away there, but he is now 32 seconds off the lead, so those incidents have cost him ever so slightly. So the gap out in front is still less than a second between Foster and Kingston. So Foster was not holding Kingston up because he has not been able to stretch his legs since, and Foster is still within a second of him, but both of these have dropped Ash Humphries, who's now 3 seconds behind. So, but still doing an absolutely stellar job in the final podium position at the moment. Then Lloyd Reed still in fourth, still battling away with Wes Bakehouse. That looks like it's going to go all the way to the end. Dominic Ingle has made his way up past Heaton, which will not be welcome news to all of our Heaton fans in the chat, but here's how he did it. Once again, up through Faux Rouge with more speed than the guy ahead of him, but this time a little bit later getting the move done. He must have been a little bit further back through the first turn. But here he goes. It looks like he's about to pull out, and later on the brakes into the chicane forces the other driver to take a slower line, and through he goes. I think you've got a phrase for what that kind of move is, Dougie.
Textbook.
That's the one. That's the one. We like it. So yeah, Ingle up to 9th now, 1.3 seconds away from Davis, but then he's 15 seconds away from the next car. So it'll be really interesting to see once he gets into that free air what he can do. But he has got quite a bit of damage. You can see the front of that Aston Martin is badly damaged. And you can see from the fact that he's running super wide there as well. But he's about to overtake Davis. He's way quicker than Davis, and he looks like he's going to get it done down the start-finish straight. Davis currently running in 8th, not long for any longer. He's down to 9th, and Ingle makes his way up to 8th. So 15.6 seconds now up to the next car. He's still, despite that damage, matching the lap times of the guys out in front. So let's keep an eye on Ingle's lap times and see how he does. But yeah, 15 seconds now to the nearest car out in front. So who haven't we covered for a while? We've got some of the guys at the back. Guido Montagnino is still on the lead lap. He's the last guy on the lead lap. Kudos to him for being on the lead lap. Scarily, guys, we've only had a quarter of this race. We've still got an hour and 26 minutes to go. And so much has happened. It's just it's mind-blowing. But yeah, so Montagnino is the first guy in the last guy, sorry, on the lead lap. Currently still battering around there in that McLaren. Zuba then is a lap down. He's a bit further back. Weaver's also a lap down. I think all these guys now, Dan Stevens there, his livery's loaded. We finally got it. And I believe he's got the Dempsey Proton Le Mans a livery there, I think that is.
Oh, you've caught me out there, even I don't know that one.
If my eyes aren't deceiving me. I might be wrong. I think it's similar, but yeah, of course owned by Patrick Dempsey, the actor from Grey's Anatomy, which all your girlfriends will know. and you, if you like me, and you like a chicky show, which I do. And Paul Prescott currently running last. We've lost 2 drivers. I can't remember who they were because there's so many out there. But Heaton has made his way back into the top 10. I'm assuming he must have dropped out of the top 10 at some point. Rich Arnold has made a mistake. Oh, big mistake from Rich. And yeah, he's got wide into turn 1. Yeah, it looks like he went wide into turn 1. Should we take a quick look at the replay? And boys,
That's embarrassing to all the viewers.
yeah.
So it always feels like we're on a replay spinning, isn't it? It's like, let's embarrass you a bit more.
Sorry about this, Rich, but it's happened. I pressed the button and it's happened. Oh, he just caught the curb. He caught the curb.
And you can't park there.
Well, Luke.
Sorry, Rich.
Well, you can park there. Perhaps shouldn't. It's closer to the truth. But there we go. That is that. And hard lines there to Rich, who's just not having his day. He was really quick in practice. Quali didn't quite go his way. Qualified in 14th and now lies in 13th place. But Heaton and Humphreys and Dehaan are having a good old ding-dong here at the moment. Foster at the moment 2.5 seconds.
Oh, contact!
Yeah, I missed
Did you
that.
see that? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'm glad you did. So let's take a look. So
It was in T1. I think Damo ran a little bit deep, and that's all Dehaan needed to show his nose. But obviously, as he's come back on track from running a little bit deep, it's they've caught each other.
no, this is the back section, not the front section. Oh yeah.
Ah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what you said was true, is that Humphreys was a little tentative through the corner, but Dehaan, being the driver behind, really should have seen that coming. Oh, it's showing that Dehaan had made contact with someone else then as well, but I don't think he has. I think it's just a glitch in the software. So in the last 2 laps, Ingle has taken 3 seconds out of the gap to Morris ahead of him, so he is making very good progress. He's done a 1:45.9 on the last lap, which is nearly a second faster than Kingston, who's leading the race. Foster's made a big mistake at some point because he's now 2.5 seconds behind Kingston, and without the toe
Ash
now.
is quite far down as well.
Yeah, Ash nearly 3 seconds off. So perhaps could be a bit of tyre saving or fuel saving going on, as we heard from the drivers beforehand. There is the need for tyre saving and fuel saving today, so they could well be yeah, and not raw pace, which is makes it a little bit F1-esque, I guess, in that way. Bakehouse still stuck behind Reed. Mooney, we haven't covered Mooney for a while. He's doing a stellar job in 6th place. That sort of seems to be the higher end of his pace this season, I would say, boys. So a little kiss of the wall from Morris in the background there. But yeah, Mooney, seems to be their sort of top end of best of the rest. Seems to sort of be his pace this season in the Merc. But he's doing a good job. Morris, we saw just have a little kiss of the wall there in the background. Sort of a similar type of wall of death as the Wall of Champions you see at Montreal, Canada. And then, of course, we've got Ingle, who's taken another 2 seconds out of that gap to Morris since I've been talking to you. So he is absolutely flying out there. He's just on a 1:45.8, which, if that's his reserved pace, is quite scary. Then you got Heaton, who's got himself up to 9th after qualifying. I think it was 16th, was it? Or 17th? Somewhere around there. But he's got himself up to 9th. Humphreys then in 10th, doing a decent job. And then you've got Alan Davis in the lead Honda now. He's gone from 8th down to 11th in the last sort of 4 laps, which again, that could be tyres. He's now down in the 49s, which is pretty slow. So perhaps his tyres have just completely dropped off. And yeah, only 40 minutes into a 2-hour race. We're not going to be anywhere near pit stop territory quite yet, I don't think, are we, lads?
No, I wouldn't expect
No, not
so.
yet. As we both speak at the same time.
That's-
No, I think we're both in agreement by the sounds of it.
But yeah, I mean, Davis has gone from 8th to now battling with his teammate, who we've seen has already had a couple of spins and things, and I think, yeah, it looks like Davis is either having to severely save fuel or his tyres have gone off a cliff, because, like I say, Rich Arnold is catching him hand over fist, and he's, lost like 3 positions. So, yes, that is that. But Dahan in the pits, so whether that is scheduled or for damage from the accident, I would put your teeth in, Mike. Suspect damage on that front, but there we go. So the only real close battle we've got on track at the moment, gentlemen, is this one. The others are all a little bit spread out. We're getting to that phase now before the pit stops where it sort of calms down and everything spreads out a little bit. So yeah, we'll just have to wait for the action to come back to us, which I'm sure it will very, very shortly.
And we can't write off weather in this race just yet.
No, of course not. It's very, very, very close to that pit stop window. I would imagine they're going to try to get to 60 minutes to do a one-stop race, but not all drivers will be able to do that, we've been told, as they will be critical on fuel. Normally, I think they run for 80 minutes on a full tank of fuel, so you can kind of get away with one pit stop, but from what we're told, they are burning way more fuel than they are used to. So just due to the nature of the track, I mean, so much of it is accelerating at full throttle, isn't it, that you're going to burn more fuel in a place like this.
Oh, no. I was waiting. We have a both speak or we don't speak at all.
We do not agree, Mike. We speak in silence.
Yeah, that's fine. Just leave me hanging.
That's really tickled me. No, I agree, Mike. I agree with everything you're saying. I love you, really. I didn't mean to ignore you.
And I agree too as well.
Oh,
Yes.
There we are. That's all I
There
needed.
we go. We all agree.
Your undivided love and attention is all I needed. Oh, we do have a laugh, folks. We do have a laugh. It's a live show. It's a live show. Yeah.
Here all week.
It'd be great if we could pause it and say, no, I don't think you said that quite right. I think what you should say is this. But I think
Start having scripts.
yeah, unscripted is the word. But Rich Arnold has got past his teammates. As soon as we got nothing else to watch at the moment, we will just pop back and have a look at that and see if we can see how he did it. I don't know if this will be team orders or if it's purely a case of... well, it's certainly not team orders, and he certainly didn't give him the position, but I assume they're in a chat together, because I know they normally are, and he's probably just said, look, mate, you're faster than me, just go for it. But he certainly wasn't giving him the position up to that point.
Oh, I got really nervous watching that there.
Yeah, all good fun, though. All's fair in love and war between teammates, isn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, we found that out last night, didn't
Yeah,
we?
I did give you a little smack up the arse last night, but that was...
Keep it PG now.
That's all right. We're on YouTube, not Twitch. YouTube doesn't mind a bit of swearing, or a bit of sex talk. I mean, racing talk. But yeah, I did. Ooh, Rich getting a little bit out of shape.
Wow!
I believe the song "Shake Your Ass, Watch Yourself" came to mind there.
Watkins Glen Rallycross with Rich Arnold. Wow, what a save!
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, going into the first. No, it wasn't into the first corner, was it? It was into the hairpin, I think, wasn't it? I gave you a little shove last night, but that was purely me, because I was battling with Alexander. I was just trying to keep him behind.
I know.
And then I was just like, oh god, there's Aaron in front of me. And to be fair, I don't think we've ever raced without me hitting you from behind. So
It was the first race we've done where we've actually battled and finished together instead of one of us dying in the gravel
Yeah.
trap. So I was actually really grateful. I thought it was good.
But
And
the
it was good to have you at the front as well.
The first race was great though. We had a great battle for
Oh,
first place, and I think we both made mistakes to let the other one pass, and then
The pace was so evenly matched, though. That's what made it really good.
it was, yeah.
Also-
We need to stop blowing up our own ego.
I know. We
Also,
do, but-
if you two watch this little section back, please take some of the quotes you two have just said out of context, and they sound so bad.
Out of context commentators.
Yeah. If you watch it back and just take all the context out of it, it sounds so bad.
that's fine by me.
But
Absolutely.
Final
fine.
Drive Sim Racing League is a family-friendly stream.
It is, and if you want to see anything of what we're talking about, we are talking about Touring Car Sim Racing League, TCSRL, which you can find on YouTube by searching us. Ignore the Twitch bit there, and you can go back and watch yesterday's race. We do 3 15-minute races, so they're short, sharp races. Great fun to watch. Basically, 10 to 15 cars nose to tail the entire time. Great fun, and if you want to watch myself and Aaron battling for race victory last night, then you can certainly find us on YouTube and go back and watch yesterday's race. And I recommend that you do. And also, we've got the best commentator in the business, Andrew Pauly, back in the comms box where he belongs, and me back in the race seat where I belong. So, yes, there we go. That's plug number 2 done, and we'll crack on with some final drive sim racing stuff now. And we are, what are we? 15 minutes away from the halfway point, so still an hour and 15 to go. So we are getting to that window now, Doug, aren't we? We were going to start to see pit stops, and that is where it starts to get interesting.
Definitely, I think that's where you're going to start seeing a mix-up. Who pits first, what kind of strategy people are going for, and we always refer back to this when pit stops. Look at what happened, is it last season or the season before? Remember when it was like the front three all switched around just by pit stops?
Yeah, there was the
Yeah,
first ever endurance race in season 1. It was Imola. Yeah, it was. I remember it well.
It even happened at Donington this season.
It did.
There was a swap of the lead
Ah, yeah.
strategy.
It did. Yeah. So I mean, we're expecting some. The pit stops always cause something, don't they? Whether it be interference with back markers or whether it be, somebody has a longer pit stop than someone else, Aaron, they always cause a little bit of jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen in the interviews as well just how easy it is to actually lose, like a crucial 2 or 3 seconds. When you're watching a battle such as this with Lloyd and Wes, if you overstep your marks in the pits and you need wheeling back and you lose a second, that's the difference between the position for these guys now.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I mean, Ash is in the photo there. If Ash makes a tiny error in the pits or needs a tiny bit of damage fixing, that's an extra 2 seconds. That's the difference between potentially 3rd and 5th. So the pit stops always throw something in the mix, and especially in an endurance race, it seems to offer that element of. It seems to be an element that can go wrong, that's out of the driver's hands almost sometimes. So it's probably the most neutral aspect of the race that throws a spanner in the works, other than the drivers making a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just led me on to a thought of, it's such a long race over big periods of time, but actually still critical seconds within the race. What matters so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think of F1 as an example, that's why they practice their pit stops so much and try to get them all under 3 seconds, because how often do we see that being held in your pit box for an extra second costs positions? I think a couple of weeks ago might have been Monza when Lando Norris made a pit stop. He was held in the pit box for about a second and a half longer than he should have been, and he ended up coming out 2 positions lower because of that. So what you're saying is right, the margins are so fine, so even stopping on your marks in the pit box can win or lose you a race, and especially when it's as close as it is between these guys. So what you're saying is absolutely spot on, and we see it in real life as well as the virtual world that we're in now. So. Oh, but there we go. Yes, that's pit stops for you. But we are getting towards that pit window, as we say. So we are. I mean, typically you would assume as I said earlier, they'll try and stop around the halfway mark. So anytime in the next 10 minutes, I will see cars start to pit. We have had some pit stops, but they were for damage.
I have a question
Yes.
for both of you. So, Ash looked a little bit deep there. So, we know that some of the cars are struggling with fuel consumption. Is there an engine map that they will be running that has minimum fuel consumption, and they are still struggling with that? Question mark. That's the first question. And B, even if the guys fuel save, would it be quicker to just go all guns blazing and two-stop than to have to totally race manage your fuel and potentially lose the same amount of time saving fuel?
Yeah,
That's two questions.
these cars have got various maps. I think there's 6, 7, 8 maps. Depends on the car. There's a wet running map. There's a standard map, and then there are various sort of other maps for various different types of things. And yes, there is a fuel saving map that you can change engine modes to. It's unbelievably slow.
Right.
In my opinion, it's you put it on as an emergency if you are 3 laps from the end and a lap short of fuel. It's that type of situation. It's so much slower. Probably off the top of my head, 3 seconds a lap slower.
It's just almost like having a parachute on the back of the car.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, you use it as an emergency. My opinion would be that over a race length of this type of length, you would look to do an extra stop and take it on the chin, because I mean, they've done 28 laps already. We're not even at halfway, so you think 3 seconds a lap there is a minute and a half, and a pit stop's a minute, so they would have already gained 30 seconds by doing an extra pit stop, and we're only not even halfway through this race yet. So yeah, if you consider it that way. That said, I haven't done a lot of racing in it for a long time, so that may well have changed, and the maps may well be different now, but that's my experience of it. So for me, sort of to answer your second question, I'd be putting as much fuel as I can, just going absolutely gung-ho, and if I got to make 2 stops, then I got to make 2 stops. That would be my approach to it. I if you start thinking about fuel saving, you're taking away, you're concentrating on that and not thinking about picking your lines, your breaking points and racing, or at least I don't have the capacity to do those things. So I don't know if Dougie feels differently, but that's my opinion on it.
No, I would agree, and as I couldn't really disagree, because what you said is factual. Why would you put that map on if already been, what do you say, 28 laps in, you've already gained a pit stop and 30 seconds? It's just, I suppose you'd have to be pretty silly not to just take the extra pit stop and just go guns blazing.
Yeah, indeed. Just watching Ingle get past Morris there, and Ingle up to 7th now. So he's now, what is he, 20, 30, nearly 40 seconds off the leader now. So I am getting to the point where I am ruling him out for the race victory. 40 seconds is a massive gap, plus the fact that he has extensive damage on that front end from those couple of incidents, meaning his pit stop is probably going to be 10-15 seconds longer than the guys ahead of him. So I'm calling Ingle getting on the podium a possibility, but winning the race, absolutely no chance. Interestingly, in this battle, we talked about Ash Humphries. I think he may have killed his tyres very early on, trying to battle those front guys, because all of a sudden now he's 10 seconds behind Foster, but also Reed and Beerhouse in their battle have caught right up to the back of him. I know you sort of alluded to that earlier when we were watching this battle, but interesting to see that Humphries has sort of fallen back into the clutches of these two, so that final podium position still plenty up for grabs for these guys.
Yep, and like we were saying with the pit stops, this isn't over, you know. This might not even get decided on track. This could be decided simply in the pit lane. So, you know, the next quarter of an hour is going to be crucial in this race's outcome, I think, especially in this battle that we're watching here anyway.
Yeah,
he's very, very close.
it's almost as if he doesn't want to make the move. He's just holding back. I don't know if that's just me misreading it, but that's how it feels.
No, it does. It almost feels like I'm almost becoming like not necessarily frustrated, but I'm almost like, come on, make a move.
Yeah, it feels like a look. To be fair to Wes though, fair play for being patient. But I think if it was me or you, I think we might have caved in and maybe he's done a cheeky dive bomb. But that's the difference between probably a good racer in us and a pro racer and someone like Wes. You know, just being able to know when the move is on and resist the urge to lunge.
No, definitely. Or you could do what I did last night and just door bang and use the personal to brakes.
That is a tried and tested technique of the Touring Car Sim Racing League, and it
works.
does work and it does not work. Yeah.
I would say though, in just to play devil's advocate slightly, as I like to do, their best lap is less than a tenth between them, and their last 3 laps is less than a tenth between them all.
Wow.
So they are. I mean, I kind of get. You could say, well, yeah, that's because Wes has been sat behind him. But at no point has Wes done a lap which is half a second quicker where you think, yeah, he's got the pace to get past. So I think they're just so evenly matched that Lloyd is just dragging him along. And coupled with the fact that how much Lloyd is caught up by Humphries, you can say Humphries is having, tyre deg or whatever, but that gap was what, 8-9 seconds? And it's now less than a second to Humphries ahead. So Lloyd is also closing that gap and lapping as fast as the guys out in front at the moment. So his last lap was equal with Kingston. So,
and on that, I always think if I'm behind someone catching or I've got a target in front of me, I'm always faster. And I think by now Wes will have learned Lloyd's braking point so much that he's like, well, if I'm the same pace, I might as well stay behind me and I've got something to concentrate on. And almost my mark is given to me, my braking point's given to me.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, I would be Wes all day, because when I'm Wes, I'm fast, I can pick my braking points, I enjoy hunting. As we saw last night, I don't enjoy being the hunted, because every time I was under any kind of pressure, granted, it was my first race for about 3 months, but I was a little rusty after no practice and no racing, but anytime I was under pressure, I caved like a cheap suit, but
That's 2 cheap suit references today.
Yeah, well, I like a cheap suit, but yeah, it I don't know about you, but I prefer being the hunter than the huntee.
Always prefer being the hunter. I think you can ask probably, I reckon all drivers we would speak to, apart from Mr. Poddyflack and maybe Russ Butcher, would say that they love being the hunter, but those guys just seem to thrive on defending, it seems.
Yeah, I mean,
I also do enjoy defending and frustrating a guy behind me because I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm the slower one as well, holding them up. So also slightly rewarding.
It depends on the track. Because some tracks I enjoy defending. I'm quite good at it, but sometimes it's just almost impossible to not look in your mirrors and concentrate on moving forward and being quick. And when you know somebody's coming for you, you're always looking for the delta. You're always looking at your lap time, you're always looking at their lap time, you're looking in the mirrors to see where they are. So I don't know, I'm one of those drivers that just can't take that pressure off myself, and I put myself in that situation. So yes, it's just a bad trait of my racecraft, unfortunately, where I can't switch off.
I become personally I'm trying to think of a PG way to describe this. I just become the worst nightmare. I mean, I think you might have witnessed it a bit last night, in the sense that if there's a corner where exit's crucial, I'll just park it and catch people off guard, so that I'll end up walking away down the straight so they can't get the run. And it's such a frustrating thing to do, but if you block any form of switchback or any form of potential run that someone can get out of a corner, you're basically cutting off the move, and that's sort of the only way to defend, especially in touring cars, because there's not much engine power, there's not much downforce, so a lot of it is based on driving momentum and you run out of a corner. So if you can affect someone's run out of a corner, you're basically stopping them from overtaking you, which is what a couple of the guys are really, really good at doing.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly employed that tactic once I'd sort of got my bearings and race 2 after Simon Ashburn had overtaken me. That is the tactic I applied because I had Deeks behind me for a while and somebody else who I can't remember now, my mind's gone blank, but they were both within a second for long periods of time, but particularly through the final corner I would just take such a line in that they had to back off, and then I would get get another 2-3 tenths on them during that period. So yeah, it was that was basically the tactic that I employed. But Michael Mooney has gone into the pits, and he is our first pitty. I'm assuming that is a normal scheduled pit stop, as he doesn't appear to have any damage or anything. So Dominic Ingle currently up to 6th as it stands. Beekhouse and Reed still battling away. So Heaton is also into the pits. So the pit stop's starting to come now, and we are just over the hour mark. So these guys are pretty much going for a 50-50 split, but at least we do know they can make it on one stop, the most of them. Excuse me. Foster also into the pits, so he's the first. He's going to try the undercut, be the first on fresh tyres, and see if he can get that 5-second gap to Kingston closed down. We will see.
I wonder if there's any damage that needs to be fixed on that McLaren, because obviously he fell off the back of Kingston pretty quickly, didn't he?
Possibly. He could have made an error. But Humphreys...
Where's his pit box? Because he seems to be going... it must be right at the end of the pits. I thought, please don't be a drive-through. We seem to be going forever there.
So Kingston leading the race, coming up to some back markers, so he may well pit now just to get himself out of trouble, because when back markers are battling each other, that doesn't always bode well for the race leader. Oh, that looked a little
Mercedes went really wide there, didn't it?
Yeah, it did indeed. That's Mooney, who's just come out of the pits after being the first to stop, comes out in 10th place. So Ingle up to 4th now, going a little bit longer than some of the cars around him. So is Kingston going to come in on this lap? Foster just making his way out of the pit box. Total stop time for him was 1 minute 7. So yeah, quite a long one. 1 minute 9 for Ash Humphreys. Rich Arnold now in the pits as well. Kingston just coming around the last couple of corners. I think he is coming into the pit. He's taking a very tight line through there, and into the pits he comes. So the question now is, he's just coming into the pits now. Foster is just
starting the longer loop, isn't he?
Yeah, just on the halfway sort of mark really of the lap. So on my rough maths, it's going to be pretty close, depending on how long Kingston's stop is. So Kingston's stop is currently at 30 seconds, so he's got about another 30 seconds to go. Foster is...
I think he'll have the entire home straight as his gap, won't he? Something like that.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell exactly. I mean, Foster's got, what, 3 corners to go. Kingston is still stationary at the moment. Let's go up to Helicam and see if we can see as Foster goes past. If he goes past, so Foster's just coming around the last corner. Kingston is literally just leaving the pit. Close. I think Foster's going to do it. I think Foster's going to have the legs now down the main straight.
He's not going to. I don't think so. I'm going to contradict you, Mike. Oh,
Kingston just gets out. You were right. He was quite far down the pit lane, wasn't he? I kind of had in my head that he had a long way to go down the pit lane. But yeah, Kingston does get himself out in front, and the gap is still 5 seconds. So nothing changed at all.
As Andrew Pauly would say, nothing gained and nothing lost. Oh, what is it now? Nothing ventured.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, that's it. That's one. Sorry.
I mean, both were valid, so, you know.
Yeah, I'll take both of them. 2 points for me.
So Morris into the pits. So who hasn't pitted so far? Ingle hasn't pitted yet. Of the top guys, I think everybody else has now. Montagnino has not yet pitted. He's in 10th at the moment. There's a couple of longer pit stops there. You can tell the guys who had damage. And yeah, that is about it. Only 17 left now. We've lost another driver. Rage quits everywhere. That's not what we want to see, but there we go.
No.
Ash Humphries has come out behind Reed and Bakehouse, so he had a slow stop. And they managed to overcut him because Humphries stopped first, so Reed has come out ahead of Foster and Bakehouse, ahead of Humphries, sorry, and Bakehouse has come out ahead of Humphries, so he's gone from battling for the lead to being fallen back in third to coming out of the pits in what is effectively net fifth once Ingle does this pit stop that he's doing at the moment. So
This is what we said with the pit stops, though. It seemed like it was fairly comfortable for third, and all of a sudden the pit stops happen, and that's it. Ash is down to fifth, and that's the difference. That could have been a rollback that's cost him a podium.
Indeed, it could be, and so there we go. He is currently net fifth, but these guys will want to finish as high as possible. I mean, the main reason being, could we finally see a move? Wes versus Lloyd. He's got the line. Is he going to be late enough on the brakes? He is.
Lloyd gives him it.
Yeah.
He braked a lot earlier than Wes.
He thought it was better to not have an accident and play it nice and safe, but he may well cost himself now against Humphries. It is, yeah. It looks like Humphries has got the run on him, but he's coming just into the wrong part of the circuit. Oh, he just has a little look up the inside and he can't quite make the move into that corner. But I mean, the main reason these guys will want to be as high as possible is because this race, being the long endurance, is double points. So I mean, all these people that have rage quit, because you get points right the way down the field up to, I think, 30th position, and we haven't even got 30 drivers, they're just costing themselves because you get double points just for finishing. So, you know, these guys finishing this race and the guys who can't make this race, everybody's missing out. So this is the one that can make or break your season, I guess, isn't it, boys? Because double points, I mean, you just got to finish, surely.
Yeah, exactly. I think just turning up and just having a Sunday drive just still gets you some points, like you said.
Well, I mean,
might as well just turn up for the fun of it.
Finishing 12th or 13th is like finishing 5th or 6th in a normal race. So, I mean, you've got to go for it, Aaron, surely.
Yeah, I can't justify why you wouldn't stick around for that reason. I mean, I could have slammed into the barrier, lost a tyre, recovered to the pits, and I think I'd still carry on. But
well, yeah, for double points you would, wouldn't you? You know, a normal race.
We assume that these guys have rage quit, but you never know. It could have, like, internet could have dropped out or other reasons. So,
but other reasons
really.
I will accept, i.e., you know, an emergency or sort of family or something. But if you drop the connection, this is one of the rare bits of software where you can actually rejoin, and it puts you back where you were. But you start from the pit lane, but it puts you back, you know, where you were. You just lose however many laps you've lost. So
yeah.
So you know, there's nothing to stop you coming back in. And you know, you look at these guys who've already had to do 2 or 3 pit stops. They're still battering around out there. The Stevens and Prescotts and Weavers of the world. So kudos to those guys. They deserve all the credit. So. But yeah, no, I appreciate what you're saying. It could be other factors at play, but internet connection isn't even really a major one for this because you can go back in. So
anyway. I'll just get better internet. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Stop buying your internet from Poundland, as a friend of ours, Scott Evans, would once say. Stop buying your internet from Poundland.
We used to have a thing in our friendship group, Mike, where we used to say that people were running Netto Wi-Fi. A lot of for anyone who isn't from the UK, these are the budget shops.
Yeah, I mean, this coming from a guy who's at a rent a server to run our touring car sim racing league servers. So you know, but I've got good internet, but not quite good enough to run a server and stream and you know, everything else that goes with it. But
I just had visions of a very confused Gleneth boy in chat thinking, what is the Poundland Wi-Fi?
yeah, Euroland.
yeah, on Euroland.
I don't know if you are out there, Kenneth, but if you are, we miss you. But
Lloyd made a little mistake.
Oh, Reed, it's the first time we've seen him make a mistake in so long. We've been singing his praises, and just through the chicane, he got it all kinds of wrong, and Humphries gets himself up to 4th.
Commentator's curse.
Indeed. I mean, these guys now 16 seconds off second, so, I mean, you'd have to assume, barring some form of colossal error from one of the front two, it's basically just a battle for the final podium position now. Ingle 21 seconds back. He's got 50 minutes to do that. So what's that? He's got to make up basically 2 seconds for every minute to have a shot at the podium. So that's not 2 seconds a lap, 2 seconds per minute to have a shot at the podium. So what's that? 2.5 seconds a lap?
It's 2.5 seconds. Yeah, probably
he's
about 2.75, isn't it?
He's not gonna do it, unfortunately. I mean, he may well prove us wrong, but yeah, 21 seconds off these guys now. So looks
if he
like
had that pace, he'd have shown it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly has got enough pace to have won the race. We know that, but yeah, that not enough pace to close a gap of that size. But I think he'd probably be reasonably pleased with 6th after getting drive-through penalty and having quite a big accident with Rich Arnold. So, speaking of which, Rich Arnold, after all the pit stops and having that damage and everything else, has gotten himself up into 9th, which and he's having a good little battle here with Damien Humphries, which is, I think you'd be quite pleased with that, boys, don't you?
No, I agree. I think he'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah. Just if you bear with me a second, gentlemen, I am just going to have a quick comfort break, and I will be back with you.
Not acceptable. 2 breaks in one day, I'll tell you what.
That's 2 breaks again now.
I don't pay you to sit around doing nothing. I don't pay you at all.
I don't pay you to sit here and commentate. Why are you doing it?
Oh God, I wish somebody would. What a job, eh?
Adam.
What a job. Yeah, get some sponsorship, man. Adam, my fees going up from 0 to more than 0. But yeah, we are watching. Oh, Humphries winning hot there, proper hot. You can see he had understeer from the turbulent air from the car in front, and that has probably caused a little bit of damage, but probably nothing too.
See, that's a man after my own heart. I use other cars for braking, but using a wall as braking is even better because they don't move.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. They're not going to report you to the stewards either. So
no, exactly. No, it's even better.
Yeah, you might get a bill off the circuit at the end of the day, maybe, but that is about it. So the big question now, then, on my mind is that battle has kind of died a little bit of a death after that accident there for Humphries. But he is coming back. Do we think Ash Humphries' head has got the pace to catch back up to Wes Bakehouse and overtake him? What do you think?
What's the gap now?
2 seconds.
I think he could actually. No, I think he could. If you looked at his pace, if you look at his pace at the start of the race, I think there's no doubt about it. And I think if you can repeat that now, I think he could. He's got the potential to. It's just whether he can, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if he's gonna hold on to his tyres a bit, maybe, and just try and maybe attack towards the end, or if he's just going to go for it. I don't know. It's hard to say, innit, what kind of tactics he's employing. Yeah. We don't get that kind of information, unfortunately. But it'll be interesting to watch.
Did you just see you pop up on screen that Ingles set new fastest lap out of a 1:45.330, I think it was.
Yeah, he has, and he is trying his best to close that gap, and that lap, though, was only half a second quicker than Wes Bakehouse, so not looking likely for a podium, unfortunately. for Dom, but that drive-through penalty basically ending his chances of winning the race at the end of the first lap. But he's done really well to fight back and gained 13 odd positions in that time. So done well.
To be fair, actually, he's got 6th fair. That's really well, to be fair, actually. Obviously, he's had time to do it, but even so.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the more time you have to do it, the worse it kind of gets to try and keep yourself, I don't know, positive about going forward.
Yeah, indeed. And that accident probably cost him 10 seconds and a couple of seconds in the pits, maybe 12 seconds. So he might have been within shooting range if he hadn't had that accident with Rich Arnold, maybe. But that is what has killed off his opportunity for a podium. But I mean, the difference between this and the Kyalami race being that he started at the back of Kyalami, the drive-through obviously pulled him out, I don't know, probably 15-20 seconds behind the last car, if you see my point. So he had a lot of time to make up before he could even start to do any overtakes. So but still, he's made a decent amount of progress, that is for sure. Oh, Foster is showing that he's had a bit of contact, and I think he's made contact with a back marker. So let's just take a quick look at the replay. I think it was Alan Davis, based on the data that I can see. So there's Foster coming through. Oh.
I actually think Alan tried to brake early to let Adam through, and Adam was not expected it, and I think it's been a slight miscommunication.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've just got a bit confused, haven't they, with what was what.
Because if you look on the exits / entrance to the next corner, Adam was in the middle of the track, so I think Alan's thought, I'll just brake early, and it allows Adam through, and Adam Zosky tucked him behind.
Yeah, I think it's probably a bit of that, and a bit of him following the driver in front, if you see what I mean. So where Alan's gone wide to let him past and gone slow, he's kind of followed him, and then because he's gone slow, he's hit him, if you sort of see what I mean. So it's kind of twofold, isn't it? So but there we go. These things happen. But back to the battle for 9th place between Rich Arnold and Damien Humphries. So two Japanese manufacturers in Honda and Lexus battling it away. Honda, my favourite manufacturer, and Lexus, the car I want next. That exact car, actually. Well, not that exact one, but the road-going version of it. I'm not sure I'd get away with driving a race car to work every day.
As much as that would be great. It would be great fun, but unfortunately not.
Well, not.
So will Honda remain your favourite?
To be fair, I'm torn. I may still get a Honda, but the Lexus RCF, which is what that car is in my top 2. But I may still.
So if you own a Lexus, will Honda be knocked off the top spot?
No.
No.
I'll still be.
Just seeing if Honda will remain top spot.
Honda will remain top spot, and I'll still be keeping the Honda that I have now as a track car, and undoubtedly getting more Hondas in the future. But older Hondas when I can afford it, when I'm old and grey and I've got money, I'll go back and buy the cars that I wish. Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, I may well just do that this time anyway, so I just end up getting a Honda anyway, so time will tell. Wherever I get, I'm going to be smiling while I'm driving it anyway, so that's all that matters. Another fastest lap there from Ingle. He's dipped into the 44s, which is by far the fastest lap we have had to date. So he is now 15 seconds behind, so it's taken him 10 minutes to catch up 5 seconds,
which is half the speed he needs to be going.
So
that's
I don't think he's going to get the podium, but if he carries on, he may well get Ash Humphries in 4th. If he carries on with that pace. Bear in mind, it was 21 seconds. It's now just under 17 seconds. So, sorry, 4 seconds he's caught. So, I think he may well get Reed and Humphries before the end of the race, or at least catch them. I know he's going to make an overtake stick, but I think he'll be within striking distance on the last lap if he can continue that pace to the end. And that is, of course, a big if, but we will see. These two.
I think sometimes over these races, it's hard to maintain pace as well.
It is, but if anybody can do it, Dom Ingle can.
He can, yeah.
Especially in that car, he's an absolute beast this season. So it'll be interesting to see. Time will tell.
Only 40 minutes left.
Only 40 minutes left, yes. Normally, the endurance race would have finished now, because they are normally 80 minutes. But this one is 120, so we've got a full 2 hours. And that's why there's double points on offer, is to reward the drivers who stick it out and finish. And
here's a question. Is it double points for commentators award?
I don't believe so, but I'm not in charge of such things, so I don't know. I hope not, because that would put added pressure on us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, yeah.
I don't like.
Or do we pick 2 drivers? Double drivers.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. Perhaps we should suggest to them perhaps to do, because they've got the sort of, not pro-am as such, but they've got the main league, haven't they? And then they've got the offshoot leagues. Perhaps we should pick a driver per league if you get me. Yeah, you know. Perhaps we'll suggest that to them for next season, and that we have the driver of the race per category, if you like. I think
It's only fair.
Yeah, it'll make for.
I actually jumped in.
You need to stop being so jumpy. If his voice scares you, then you're in the wrong place. But yeah, we are 40 minutes to go. What can I say? We're all sick.
Proper tickled me.
we're all sick of the sound of each other's voices and everything else by now. But we're still here ploughing away. 40 minutes. Well, 38 and a half minutes to go. And yeah, it's kind of all just sort of settled down now. We were saying while you were away, Aaron, that Dom Ingle has taken 5 seconds out in 11 minutes now it is.
Right.
So he could, if he continues on this pace, be within striking distance of Ash on the last lap, or Ash and Lloyd, because they're basically there or thereabouts. So there is potential. If he goes even quicker again, he could even be in with a shout at the podium. But it all depends on how he gets on in these next sort of 10 minutes now, and how that gap comes down. But what he's got in his favour, of course, boys, is that Ash and Lloyd are battling each other. So, of course, as we know, that costs them time as they battle each other. And Ingle has done a 44.9 and a 45.5 on his last 2 laps, whereas Lloyd Reed and Ash Humphries are doing mid-46s. So he's definitely got the pace. Go on and give me a prediction, boys. Is he going to get A shot at 4th, or B, a shot at the podium, or C, none of the above?
Shot at 4th. There's my answer. Plain and simple.
There we are.
I only because based on only 5 seconds of the last 11 minutes, and
bear in mind, Mike, there was 50 minutes left, and on 40 minutes he'd taken 4 seconds. So with another 40 minutes left, that's 16 seconds. Yeah, over the rest of the race. So
yeah, true.
And the gap is now 14 seconds with 37 minutes to go. And that's 14 seconds between him and this battle we're currently watching, and 18 seconds to Wes. So just bear that in mind. If he continues the current pace difference between him and the guys in front, he's got about 16, 17 seconds to gain before the end of the race.
I think he'll get on the back of the battle, but I don't think he'll go any further forward. I think he'll finish in the same gap as what Lloyd has to Ash, but obviously on the back of Lloyd. I think that's how it'll be. I think he'll get there. I just don't think. I think he'll run out of time before he can get past.
Fair enough.
Or if it all goes horribly wrong and the all front runners crash, then he'll come first. No, I'm joking. But I do think he'll just get a shot at fourth. I think he'll. I think similar to what Aaron was saying is he'll get there and almost he'll finish fifth, but will be very close to getting fourth.
I would say if he gets to the back of him, and obviously it is all big ifs and buts at the moment, I think if he gets to the back of him, he takes the two of them because he's got a second a lap on these guys, and that's a big difference.
What will happen now is none of the above because we commentated cursed him.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean that was a given, and we all knew it was going to happen. But yeah, that gap is down to just a smidge over 13 seconds now, so it is coming down all the time. Yeah, I think he'll have a good shot to fall. I can't see him getting on the podium. I think it's just too far. But certainly a shot at fourth. So Michael Mooney has made a move on Alan Davis. Let's just take a little look at the replay.
Is it going to be textbook?
I think it is. I can feel words coming into my mouth.
No, it's not going to be textbook. Do you know why? Because this is 2022 and nobody reads textbooks anymore. Do you know what that is, boys? That's PDF.
And I was about to say an ebook, but that's all that PDF will do.
What we've just seen there was Acrobat, guys.
It was.
It was Adobe.
It was Adobe. It was the other PDF readers are available on the market.
It was Nitro.
But that was PDF, and it shows there was a little change of position there. So I think, yeah, because Lloyd was behind, wasn't he? Yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to gauge where I was. Yeah, so
just on your house, Mike.
We haven't caught it. Yeah, the replay hasn't caught it, so we've missed it, unfortunately. But Lloyd has got up past Humphries, so that, that's happened. So just
I see my little jokes sort of got missed. I think Mike appreciated it after the fact it happened.
I'm always after the fact, mate. 10 seconds behind always. So yeah,
just finishing last.
Where are we then?
No, guys. No.
Right.
More out of context commentators coming to you next week.
Just going back to Ingle, that gap now is 9.5 seconds. So in that time that we were talking absolute nonsense, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, he's knocked 4 seconds off it. He is on a roll. Humphries and Reid during that battle, mind, were doing 49s, which explains why there's such a difference. But yeah, he's less than 10 seconds away now with over half an hour to go. So he's not going to catch up. He's got 16 seconds to get onto Beerhouse, which I don't think he's going to do. But 10 seconds now to that battle between Humphries and Reid. Yeah, he'll do that. No problem at all, I reckon, in 33 minutes. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to give a quick mention. Graham Morris having a fantastic race, probably the best race he's had since he won the reverse grid Spa race last season, in 7th place and doing a stellar job in that McLaren, so kudos to him. Matt Heaton, we got his fan club in the viewership. He's brought himself, I think he was about 16th on qualifying. It seems so long ago, I can barely remember. Let's have a look at positions gained. How many positions has Matt Heaton gained? He's gained 9 positions, which means he started in 17th. So yeah, he's gained 9 positions. Just having a look at other the big gainers, and he is the person who's gained more positions than anyone else. The next biggest being Rich Arnold, who's gained 5 positions, so kudos to him. Oh, Humphries back past Reid. Hopefully we'll be able to see it.
Get that replay button pressed.
Oh, it looks like Reid made a bit of an error. Oh, he just got a bit twitchy out of that left-hander, and it's a sod of a corner, that one, because I think I said in my track guide, it catches you out because I'm sure you'll agree, boys. I'm not sure if you've both driven this track much. Actually, I didn't ask you that question, but or at least this iteration of it, because I know you did the touring car race. But that left-hander there, before you go over the bridge, it tightens sort of halfway through and then a bit more towards the end, so it catches a lot of drivers out. And I think Lloyd has just lost his concentration for just a split second there.
It almost feels a little bit off camber as well with the way the corner goes, because it's uphill into a flat, so you end up turning into the corner and it's forever going away from you. Yet, like, I know what you were saying with it tightens. It feels like it's even tighter than it is because of the nature of the corner. So, I picked up on it on Adam's lap as well. Driving it in the Porsches here with these guys when we did. I don't know if you were there, Mike, but we did the Cayman challenge, and it was just exactly the same. It was so easy to lose the rear out of that corner. No,
I did the Porsche one here, but not the Porsche Cayman one. The 911 competition thing or whatever it was. Yeah, I did that one. So just noticing, Humphries has really dropped off the back of these guys now. We did see Humphries hit the wall earlier, the reverse wall of champions, as I'm going to call it. But Rich Arnold now putting proper pressure on Heaton, so he's got into a really good rhythm now, Rich, and doing some decent lap times in the 47s. Heaton, what happened there? That looked a bit bizarre. Was Heaton pulling over for the blue flag maybe, but
I think so,
inadvertently let Rich Arnold through. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to look at the replay of that because that confused me slightly. So here we have Rich Arnold battling away with Heaton 4 position, coming down towards the chicane, I believe. Rich Arnold on the brakes. Oh, Heaton got out of shape. We just missed that. He got way out of shape, but what a drift, and he held it really well. But that
managing to get past as well.
Yeah, and then
look at that.
Follows through.
Follows Adam through.
Yeah, follows Adam through because Rich was sleeping a bit there, I would say, because he. And as we rejoin, Humphries has managed to join this battle, and as we come back to the live action, Humphries Arnold has gone from gaining a position to potentially losing 2. But yeah, he.
It was very.
Go on,
Mike.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was just going to say it was very Raikkonen-esque of Matt Heaton to sneak back through after he made the mistake. I recall Lewis Hamilton and Raikkonen doing that in 2008 at Spa in my encyclopedic F1 knowledge. So
yeah,
very reminiscent there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those where you utilise a blue flag.
It's so cool to see, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean Heaton obviously got that chicane really wrong, but to recover that quickly and get himself back into shape and battling again was great to see. But Rich seems to have settled down again now after that and a little battle with Humphries. But I think these three are going to battle for that position right the way to the end by the looks of it. They got a big gap then back to Mooney, who's disappointingly lost loads of positions in this second half. Oh, he's had to make a second stop. He's had a stop-go penalty. I missed that, sorry. I can see in the data now Michael Mooney had a stop-go penalty because he was running 6th, wasn't he, at one point? And all of a sudden now he's down in 11th due to a stop-go penalty. Absolutely gutting. But he's obviously exceeded track limits more than 3 times, I believe that would be. But the Reed-Humphries battle continues on, and you'll be pleased to know that we were correct because Dominic Ingle is now less than 4 seconds behind these guys, and there's still 26 minutes to go. And there you can see him, he's even in the same shot as them now on the camera. So yes, we were correct in saying that Dominic Ingle was going to catch up to the back of these guys, because he absolutely is.
Machine.
Yeah, he is. He's on such good form at the moment, and I think barring that accident with Rich Arnold, which must have cost him between 10 and 15 seconds because he hit him and then stopped to let him past again. Without that, he'd easily be on the podium. Absolutely no problem at all.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Excellent impression of the nodding dog there.
For that one, didn't I?
Oh, yes. Oh, no. We have a laugh, guys. We have a laugh. We got to entertain
the
ourselves
viewers'
in these
expense.
endurance races, haven't we?
Exactly.
We are
You know,
getting
our entertainment is your entertainment.
Exactly. We have a bit of fun. I'd like to do a Le Mans style like 24-hour race just to see how much crap we could talk.
I was about to say, I dread to think what we ended up chatting about.
Like how much rubbish could three men talk in, over a 12-hour race or a 6-hour race or something. We'll find out one day. We'll do comms on one of the endurance races on a Saturday or something. Oh, but then I like to race in those. No, scrap that idea. I'd rather race.
Commentate
We'll
and
just
race.
Yeah, good luck with that. I certainly can't do one thing at once. Never mind two.
We'll do a live watch along of Le Mans and just see how much waffle three men can create in 24 hours. No sleep allowed, and we'll just go. We'll just all cards on the table.
Or what we could do, I don't know if this is what you kind of just said, whether you was on about real Le Mans or doing it, record the race and commentate over it. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, more like
right.
a real life watch along of Le Mans.
Oh, real life.
So basically,
I was going to say, if
the-
Mike wanted still racing or endurance, we could do the long endurance and then commentate post race, if you know what I mean.
Oh, what we could do is have an endurance team, and whoever's not in the car does the comms.
Oh my god, that is the best idea ever.
So we'll enter the next
we're doing
endurance
that.
series, and we'll stream it, and we'll take it in turns to get in and drive, and
Yes.
and we'll commentate when we're not driving.
That is
That's
very
actually a good
Jimmy
idea.
Broadbent-esque.
Welcome to
I
Final
rate
Drive
that.
Sim Racing Think Tank, where we come up with cool ideas. And Rich Arnold making a move down to the chicane. I think he's gone in way too hot. He has gone
Oh
in
dear.
way too hot.
Oh dear.
He's gonna have to give that back. But he's it's all gone wrong.
It's all gone wrong.
Oh, it's all gone wrong. And Damien Humphrey says, "Yoink," I believe is the exact phrase. But it's all
That's
gone
exactly what he says.
wrong. Oh, Rich, I apologise in advance, but we've got to watch it again because it was just such a colossal bit of footage. So here we go from a helicam, goes in, gets his breaking point way too late. Yeah, he was 20, 30 yards way too late on the brakes. Then unsettles the car on the curbs. Then Heaton hits him. And Humphreys just says, "Thank you very much." Or yoink.
An absolute car crash.
Oh man, Matt Heaton was on for such a good result, and now I pray he does not have much damage.
To be fair,
He's-
Heaton is in just the same position as he was. Humphreys has jumped
Yeah.
them both, so Heaton is where he was. I echo your sentiments. Fingers crossed he doesn't have a lot of damage. We'll keep an eye on him. Let's take a look if we can see on the front of the car. It doesn't look too bad. He's probably losing some performance, but luckily it wasn't too high speed, was it? It was quite a low speed accident because I think he'd slowed down already because he'd seen Rich Arnold's mistake in front. But commiserations for Rich as well. Now down, going from battling for 8th, and he's now down in 12th. But
To be fair, Rich has many fans, but I think he's now developed some haters, which are Matty Heaton's fan group.
yeah,
Heaters, we'll call them.
the Heat-
The heaters.
Quite expensive nowadays, them things.
that's the only reason I do comms is because it gets my blood pressure up, and I can't afford to put the heating on.
My PC does like itself.
Oh, these two battling again. And Reed trying to come back at Humphreys. You can see Ingle is now there in the background, only a second behind this battle. So this is going to get juicy in the coming laps. We've still got 22 minutes to go, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. But this battle looks like it's going to juice up now with these two still battling with each other. Probably well aware that the fastest guy on the circuit tonight, who isn't leading the race for reasons we've mentioned earlier, is now about to challenge them for 3rd and 4th. Are they going to battle him, or are they going to let him through? I think they've battled so hard with each other for that position. I don't think they're going to yield at all to Dom Ingle, regardless of how quick he is. But we will see in the coming moments. 2 laps to get past. What do you reckon, gents?
Ooh, off.
Oh, who's that in the wall?
I think it's a back marker. It is Montagnino, the guy whose name I can finally say properly.
It's like it's severe action, eh?
Yeah, that's a very severe way of getting out of the way of the front runners, but
But it works.
I think the answer to your question's on screen, Mike. Oh, he thought better of it though. He's
Yeah.
stuck back in.
we did.
I wonder if he's just going to slip
We got a comment saying the overtake was never on into that turn. Mr. Browning, I disagree. I think the overtake was on, but not in that way. You can easily overtake into the chicane, but the problem is he just got his braking all kinds of wrong. But the shame of it is that he then made another mistake, which led he to make a contact, which is a shame. But I think the move was on. I'll disagree with you slightly on that one. But yeah, he needs to brake 20-30 meters earlier than what he did, and that's where he got it
So
wrong.
you tell him, Mike.
Hey, no, it's a fair point. It's a fair point, but I do disagree with it. But yeah, anyway, Ingle is up to 5th now. He is past Lloyd Reed. Browning, please don't leave. I like you. You're a viewer and you comment and everything. Please don't leave. We like you. We're friends. And your name is Mike and my name is Mike, so we have to be best friends. So, jokes
And you're a
aside,
fifth of our viewership right now.
here we are. I said 2 laps for him to get past, and it took him 40% of 1 lap. So there we go. Ingle is up now. So now the question is, in 20 minutes, can he catch up 10 seconds
Yes.
to Wes Bakehouse and get on the podium?
Imagine.
He's a second.
I have faith.
He's a second a lap faster, and we're gonna have 10 laps.
Boom, he's there, he's done it. He's a machine, this man, he'll do it.
He's gonna be super close to getting on the verge of a podium, and I think
That'll
that
be
has to be his
excellent damage
target.
limitation.
I think that'll be superb, considering both the drive-through and the accident. It'll be nothing short of astonishing, really, because he'll at that point be only 20 seconds behind the leader. And when you consider he lost a drive-through is at least 30 seconds, probably closer to 40 when you consider the amount of time you actually lose at low speed, plus another 15 seconds for the incident, plus another 5 seconds for the damage to his car in the incident. I think that's astonishing. But let us see. But Reed is coming back now at Ashley
And the other-
Humphries. Yeah, go for it, mate.
And the other factor in that is Bakehouse keeping that pace up as well, which is keeping only a second a gap. Bakehouse could slow down or anything like that as well, or have a mistake.
Yeah,
So I
no,
think his other
exactly. I mean, and
still
to
things
be fair,
could go
that
the other way as well.
yeah, that 1 second gap also is based on Dominic Ingle in traffic battling. So he's got clear air now. So if he gets back into the 45s, as long as his tyres have still got it in them, there is potential that he could do it even quicker. But a mistake there for
Reed.
Humphries. Reed managing to get up the inside, and great move, but that was born from a mistake. So Humphries will have to fight back again now for that
Very PDF.
5th position. PDF indeed. PDF indeed. But he's yeah, these two have had a cracking battle in this second half of the race, and both driving really well in unfavoured cars. I think we can say generally, but yeah, doing stellar jobs. Right, so where are we? Any other battles we can take a look at? Rich Arnold battling his teammate. Last time we saw that, it wasn't really much of a battle, as much of a wave by, but we'll take a look. Last time he tried to make a move into here, he got it all kinds of wrong. I hope he's not going to do that to his teammate. No, he doesn't. Good news.
That was very Jeremy Clarkson, Mike. Good news! The new Dacia Sandero has been released.
I think you find that was James May.
James May, yep, I realised
But-
as soon as I opened my mouth.
But yes, that is what I was quoting. Because yeah, I've watched more Top Gear than anything else in my life. So, but it's lovely having two Honda NSXs next to each other on track, so I can show them both on the stream at the same time. That's nice. But yes,
Happy ending.
Indeed. Not for these two because they're way out of position because they've both made mistakes. But still, good for us. Let's have a look now. Mooney's got himself back up into 9th after his stop-go penalty. Oh, he's kissing the newly dubbed faux wall of death. We're just naming corners after corners from other circuits around here. Faux rouge and faux wall of death. Or a wall of champions, I mean, sorry. Wall of champions.
I prefer wall of death, to be honest.
Yeah, let's just do it wall of death. Everybody keeps...
The wall of Megadeth.
Which I'm going to call that wall Margot Robbie because everybody wants to kiss it. So.
Ah, I see.
Hey, see what I did there?
Also, Mike.
The dad jokes. Go
I've
for
got a
it.
bone to pick with you, Mike. We've now lost one viewer. We're now down to 4 viewers now.
Yeah, sorry, Michael Brownlee, I disagreed with you and now you've left. Apologies.
Oh,
I actually don't know who has left. I've got no idea. Could be anyone.
Whoever it is, we're disappointed in you.
Chat, you need to spam F. F in the chat right now.
So Mooney does make his way up past Damien Humphries, and he is now up into 8th, which I think he'd be slightly more pleased with, but could easily have been battling with the guys ahead if it hadn't been for that penalty. Would have been probably battling with Morris for 7th. Let's just take a quick look at the replay, see how he got it done. Putting pressure on Humphries, forcing him wide, and later on the brakes into the left-hander, and away he goes. So nice and simple. So Humphries and Reed still battling away with each other.
Have you seen the gap between Ingle and Bakehouse?
Oh, very wide there from Humphries. Very, very wide.
Ingle and Bakehouse is now only 7.5 seconds between them.
I have noticed
Oh,
that.
it's on. It's on.
Can I ask,
It's definitely on.
Dougie, is your software working?
It isn't, no. I'm just using a stream, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
slightly behind.
Why? I wonder why that software stopped working for you guys there.
It's not working for me either, Dougie. We had to...
No, it just says like it can't connect or words
Yeah,
to that
yeah,
effect.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having to do the same as you and flick between YouTube and this to have a look at the times.
We'll work on that. Oh, I think I might. I think I've just thought of a way that I could actually do it so you can see what I can see. We'll discuss that off here.
We'll sort it.
Not to be
We'll sort
discussed
it.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I've thought of a way that I might be able to do it if yeah. Anyway, yeah. Ignore me. Talking absolute trash. Yeah, we're just thinking out loud here. So yeah, 13 minutes to go. We are watching Dominic Ingle, who's now 6 seconds behind Wes Bakehouse on that final podium position. So he's got a couple of cars to lap ahead of him. The first being Damien Humphries, who's currently in 9th, and battling Michael Mooney for 8th. But and then they've got a back marker ahead of them as well in Darrell Weavers. So we haven't really covered Weavers much this season. He had a good season last season. I think he moved to the BMW last season, didn't he? Which seemed to suit him a bit better. He's gone back to the McLaren this season. Doesn't really seem to have suited him, I don't think, lads. Because he's definitely struggling more this season than he did last season.
He's got a bit of damage as well, hasn't he?
He has got
See
fair
there,
amount,
that
yeah.
front aero damage.
Yeah, that is falling apart. Oh, God, Jesus
I
Lord.
got very nervous.
Oh, everything.
I
We've
think
got a
the entire commentary box reaction should tell you how close that was.
Yeah, everything was twitching, man. Everything was twitching. But yeah, Michael hasn't left. He's just said he took our comments on board. Yeah, like I said, it's just a difference of opinion, Michael. And I was joking, of course. But he says our commentary, our fantastic commentary, has kept him gripped. So I'm glad that you're entertained, and thank you for tuning in to you and everybody else who's watching. And then
Michael could literally quite tell you to get back in your box, comms box.
yeah, tell me to get back on my box and shut up. But yeah, everybody who's tuned in and everybody who watches the replay and everything else, thank you for watching. We just do this for the fun of it. We're not getting paid for it. We're just having a laugh and,
Unfortunately.
spending some time with some mates and calling some great racing action in the meantime. So yes. Anyway, back to the action. So we are 11 minutes on the dot now left in this race. So Kingston is way out in front. We've barely covered him, but he's not way out in front, but he pulled 6 seconds on Adam, and then Adam's managed to match him, but has been unable to catch him. Wes Beekhouse had an issue at the start. We didn't see exactly what it was, but he did drop quite a few positions for it. Remember, didn't he, Aaron? But he's battled his way back up to 3rd, so good showing from him. And then Dominic Ingle, who qualified on pole, had a drive through in the first lap, then an accident while trying to battle through the traffic after getting up to the top 10, back into the top 10 again, and then has battled his way up to 4th. But he is now 5 seconds away with 10 minutes to go from battling for that final podium position. His last lap was 7/10 faster than Wes Beekhouse. I think it's on, that battle for the last podium position.
It's on.
But before we get to that, Lloyd Reed, who's done a superb job, and him and Ash Humphries, who's behind you in 6th, have given us some cracking entertainment. They've had some absolutely brilliant battles all the way through the second half of this race, and they've given us some great showing, which we've really enjoyed. Graham Morris, as we said, doing a cracking job there in 7th. Michael Mooney back up to 8th after getting a stop-go penalty. Damien Humphries in 9th. I think you'd be reasonably pleased with that. That's about his pace for this season, as we see a little lick of flame out of the side exhaust there. But being a double points race as well, and being one of the only, being the better of those mid-runners, sort of him, Heaton, Alan Davis, Rich Arnold, I'm sure he'll be pleased as punch. Matt Heaton in the top 10. That is where Aaron thought he might finish after a disappointing qualifying, and that is exactly where he is. Alan Davis and Rich Arnold are 11th and 12th in the 2 Hondas. Disappointing from them, both more than in top 10 pace for much of this race, and actually in the top 10 themselves, but since the pit stops it seems to have all gone a little bit wrong. Then you got Zuber in 13th, Weavers in 14th, Dan Stevens in 15th, another who's struggling this season, struggling for practice time, seat time. When we've spoken to him, it's just a case of not being able to get in the practice, and without the practice you don't have the consistency. And the last of our runners, after losing 4 drivers today, is Guido Montagnino, and he is 7 laps off the lead, but he's still out there driving. So for me, that is absolutely fantastic, and kudos to you on continuing, as that is not easy to do, and I'm sure you boys will agree with me, echoing those sentiments.
Definitely. I'm not too sure, obviously. I think he's Italian, and I'm not too sure if his English is fantastic, but I'm sure the guys will tell him that, yeah, thanks for sticking around, and thanks for keeping on going. It's so easy. I mean, we've seen people disconnect. It's very easy to just say, nah, not for me tonight, sorry. And he's kept on going, and it gets lonely. 2 hours is a long time to do that on your own, so fair play, well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's all we can ask. That's all we ask of our drivers is, just stick at it and keep going, no matter what. And yeah, so he is. As we're getting down to that time, what are your drivers of the race, gentlemen? It's just 6 minutes to go, so we might as well. Do you need a minute to think, or do you want to discuss it now?
I think
I'll
I've got
discuss
mine.
We both seem ready.
Fire away.
Should we say it on 3 and see if we've got the same person?
Mike can count us in, and then
Yeah,
we
Mike
will
counts
be
in.
in sync.
Contestants, ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Dominic Ingle. Was there ever any doubt?
Okay, I'm going to counter that with someone else.
Ooh.
As much as Dom has driven well, he did get a penalty for whatever reason. We're not sure. I'm assuming it was being out of position at the start. He has had an accident. Yes, he's been super quick and he's battled his way back through. Not taking that away from him. But my drive of the race is Guido Montagnino, because he's driven around on his own for 2 hours, 7 laps off the lead, and he's still out there doing it. So he's my driver of the race. So we'll put it to...
That's a mint shout.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Because we never do that. We actually never do that. We always reward drivers who are fast on the pace, but we actually never reward drivers who actually got the resilience just to stick it out. So yeah, I take that back.
That's a class. Yeah, you've made a midpoint there, Mike. We'll do that.
Yeah, it's just you know, a small reward, but it's a reward for just having the balls to just keep at it for 2 hours on your own. As you said, Aaron, it's not easy, and you know, I guess a little nod of appreciation from us, because when drivers are quitting and dropping out, or you know, assuming that's what's happened, you know, and if that's not the case, we apologise. If there's anything more serious is the reason you've left the lobby, but if it is rage quitting, then you know, that's not what we want to see, and we want to see as many drivers out there as possible. And so it's a little nod of appreciation from me and the boys here to say Guido Montagnino is our driver of the race, for sticking at it, and kudos to him and hats off. But while we've been talking that nonsense, we are 4 minutes to go, and Dominic Ingle is 1 second behind Wes Bierghaus. 1.6 seconds faster than Wes on the last lap. So Wes clearly struggling with tyre wear, making a few mistakes now towards the end of it. Tiredness would have kicked in. He's just had COVID. Remember, Wes, he had COVID over the last 2 races. So I haven't had it twice myself. I can vouch for the fact that he's not exactly going to be tip-top even now. It takes a good few weeks to get over it.
I second that.
Yeah. It's not pleasant. Doug, have you had COVID?
I have indeed, yeah. It put me on my backside, to put it politely.
Yeah, so exactly. We all know, we've all been there, and so I'm sure Wes is feeling the burn. But you can see there's such a pace difference between these two guys at the moment. But it does look like...
a classic case of when, not if.
Yeah, very much the words I was looking for, but couldn't quite find. And
I read your mind. I looked into my crystal ball. I knew what you were trying to say.
That's why we have Aaron here.
Depressed Squid is back in the chat, and he said he's agreed. I'm assuming he means about our appointing Guido driver of the race and sticking around. I think that's what he agrees with, but because I wasn't looking when he put his thumb up. But yeah, Luke just in the chat there saying he agrees, and I think he agrees with our sentiments there of rewarding drivers for sticking around no matter what. And
Dom making a move.
Yeah,
or maybe not.
Wes not making it easy for him, but. Yeah, and but just to reiterate, that's not taking anything away from what a stellar drive Dom has done. But just for me, the fact that he has made 2 mistakes today is just taking the shine off it, just slightly. But still, a super fast drive. Humphrey's showing as I think he went off the track just to let the front guys pass. But Wes is going to battle right to the end, and do you know what else I've noticed, boys? The gap for the lead is down from 7 seconds to 1.8 seconds. They are the 2 leaders. They're also battling now. Suddenly Foster a second a lap quicker than Kingston, so that could be mistakes, tiredness, tyre wear, we don't know, lack of fuel, could be any number of things. Unfortunately, we don't have access to that level of data. But what we do have is 2 cracking battles now as we wind down.
Where's runs?
I'm just checking. Yeah, these guys cross the line, so there will be 1 more lap after this one. And here they are, pretty much side by side now, going down into the first corner. They're almost touching. They're so close. You can see the difference in pace Dominic Ingle has got... Oh, but he's going to run super
Ooh.
wide there. And he won't want to hit
Round
track
the outside.
limits.
Round the outside.
I didn't see any trailer park girls, but I did see 2 cars. And Dominic Ingle does manage to make his way up into the final podium position. Absolutely fantastic drive for him. Like I say, not to take anything away from his achievements. If it wasn't for those mistakes, is undoubtedly he'd be in first place right now. But he is not, and he is, though, on the final podium position on the penultimate lap. So Kingston and Foster, the gap now 1.3 seconds. Has Foster got it in him to catch and overtake Kingston? Kingston in the 47s now. Is he fuel saving? Is that the issue? Are the tyres gone? We don't know without speaking to him. I hope you had a good race, Luke. And yeah, cheers for tuning in. Really appreciate it. But yeah, we
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
can confirm then that this now is the final lap of the race. And Kingston under pressure now in the closing stages after being comfortably out in front for such a long time. Foster has been consistently faster the last few laps. And oh, what are we saying, boys? Has he got it?
Oh, I'm really
I want to
nervous.
say yes, but I don't think so. Then again, the difference then he's just caught.
Yeah, he's
Just
right up on the back
visually
of it.
caught then.
I think Kingston's having to lift and coast because you saw how much speed he lost towards the end of that braking zone. I think he's having to lift and coast. I think this could be borderline for him finishing. I think this might be what the guys were talking about with fuel. Maybe slightly under fueled. I don't know, but look how close it is now. It's 0.4 of a second.
Oh my god.
This will
This
be
could
telling.
be a last corner move.
At the end of this straight, this will be telling, because this will be the point
Be a
where,
photo
if he
finish.
has to lift and coast, this will be where Foster can make up some time. I don't think he can afford to lift and coast. Oh, it's so close. He's definitely lifting.
Oh, come on, guys. Keep it clean.
He's definitely lifting and coasting. There's just a few corners to go. Foster agonisingly close, just a little bit wide there from the Aston, but he's managed to make it through unscathed. I don't think Foster now has anywhere where he can make that advantage work for him, unless he gets a stellar exit out of the last corner. He doesn't, and across the line.
The leader has finished the
Oh,
race.
I mean, Alex was wobbling there. He was waving the car almost to get the fuel swashing about, a NASCAR technique. If that's what he was doing, he must have been really critical on fuel.
Yeah, but outstanding drive again from Alex Kingston. The championship leader takes victory from Adam Foster in second. Dominic Ingle will come home there in a stellar third position, all things considered. Wes Bakehouse drove great tonight, like we said, still recovering from COVID. He comes home in fourth. Lloyd Reed and Ash Humphreys end up fifth and sixth consecutively, respectively. Sorry, I'm not even using the right terminology. I'm so tired after this long race. But fifth and sixth, absolutely outstanding. Graham Morris will come home eventually in seventh, I think. Yeah, he's the last one then on the lead lap. Mooney has finished in 8th, Matt Heaton in 9th, great drive from him. Danny Humphries, another one with a great drive, he comes home in 10th. Alan Davis in 11th, Rich Arnold will come home in 12th, Zuba 13th, Weavers 14th, Dan Stevens 15th, and Guido Montagnino in 16th. So it's just Morris and Arnold who have yet to cross the line, I believe. So there comes Morris, and that brings proceedings to a close. And the winner of the race, as is flashed up on your screen here, Alex Kingston in the number 77 Aston Martin. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Well, what can I say? 2 hours flies by when you're enjoying yourself, but yeah, it's hard to reflect on that. I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting the end of that to be so close, anywhere near as close as it ended up being. That is for sure. But it was. Oh, for some reason, my thing is playing up. Bear with me just while I get this set up because it doesn't want to play ball. But there we go. So I'm just going to drag that up so we can see everybody on camera. And there we go. So 2 hours have gone by and I've completely lost my train of thought. My mind is gone. But we've got lots of drivers to speak to. So let's get cracking. So first I'm going to go to the race winner, Mr. Kingston. Great race win. You had a hard-fought battle before the pit stops. Really battling away with Foster, and you managed to get into the lead and really controlled the race from then until those last sort of 5 laps. It really seemed like you lost a bit of pace. Was that a case of tyre wear, fuel saving? Yeah, just take us through it all.
So during qualifying, I put brake pads 1 on, and I never changed back to brake pads 2. So right at the end, when I had extreme tyre wear, my brakes were also fading pretty hard. I think my rear brakes were down to about 50%.
Right.
And yeah, I was just hemorrhaging time. And I kept looking at the time. I could just see Foster getting closer and closer and closer. And there was nothing I could do about it. I was trying so hard to just keep him back. But that battle we had right at the beginning was great as well. I really enjoyed that. And one of the Humphrey brothers as well was up and involved. And obviously unlucky with Dom at the beginning. I think he might have just been a bit too far ahead of his marker, I think.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that's what happened there, but there we go. You know, it was what it was, but it was great to see a bit more parity, I guess, between the Aston and the McLaren tonight. It made it really close and really exciting to watch. But congratulations on another win. It's proving a stellar season so far, but still a long way to go. But certainly must be pleasing to win the double points.
Yep. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, you're welcome. Dougie, you can ask the next question, mate. Over to you.
Yeah, I'll go to second place man, Adam Foster. How was that 2 hours for you? And second question to that is, did you think you had a chance for a win at the end?
Yeah, well, the start was insane, as always is at the moment with our races. Brilliant. Yeah, half-hour battle with Alex. Shame Dom got the drive-through. I made 2 mistakes in the same corner in 2 laps, and we went side by side for like 5 or 6 corners till like the last corner twice.
Yeah, we caught on that stream.
And yeah, then the second time he just managed to take it round the outside that time and then pulled away a little bit. But I was seeing it was 8 seconds, and 7, and 7, 6.5, then 5.5. So hold on, something's going on here. Tyres, fuel, don't know what's going on. But yeah, I continued and less than a second at the end. Brilliant race.
It was a cracking race. At the end, we were all holding our breath, not knowing who was actually going to win because we could see Kingston, Oski's going down Oski due to brakes, and we was like, who could take the win?
Yeah, one more lap.
You beat me to my question. I thought if you had another lap, would you have done it? But you
maybe. It all would depend 100%. On what he'd done on the defending, but yeah, maybe if I one more lap. But I had brake pads 1 as well, so and mine didn't fail at all.
Yeah, there we go. Right. Go on, then, Mike. I'll pass back to you.
Yeah, cheers. Who am I going to speak to next? I am going to go to Alan next. I'm just going to go in the order they are on the screen for me because that makes the most sense. I'll remember who I've spoken to then, won't I? Alan, seemed to me like you had a really good first half of the race, and then the second half of the race it seemed to unfold a little bit, and you'd sort of drop back because at one point you're battling sort of 7th, 8th position, and then second half of the race you're outside the top 10. Just take us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, it was one silly mistake, the hairpin towards the end of the lap. Just binned it, lost about 20 seconds after running an 8th, and that slipped me back down to about 12th, I think, and just never really recovered from there. I don't know if I'd have stayed in 8th if Fant had that spin. My pace wasn't quite there compared to, say, Rich, who had about half a second on me each lap. It was just one silly mistake, and that was it, really.
Yeah, shame when that happens, and it's immensely frustrating. But yeah, at the end of the day, you finished it. It's a double point, so still plenty to take from it. And tracks coming up, such as Brands Barcelona, which maybe will suit the Honda a little bit better.
Yeah, I hope so. We seem to be dialing the car more and more and moving up. The qualifying was pretty strong today for myself again, which was nice. I'm just kind of turning into like the Bobby Thompson of the touring cars. Occasionally get towards the top 5, but spend most of my time in the middle of the pack. So yeah, I'm happy with 11th today, and I think, like you said, the tracks coming up will hopefully suit our car, and try and move those places up to being 5th and 6th instead of 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th.
Well, I bid you good luck, and better luck next time, and hopefully less annoying spins. But Dougie, over to you.
Yeah, I'll go to Dom next, and I'll ask a couple of questions, but only one sentence, hopefully. So, what caused the drive-through, and then also, quite literally, an up and down race for yourself? How did you find the whole race, obviously, up and down? Because I think had a bit of an incident with Rich, and then obviously good drive-through as well, so it was a bit annoying for yourself.
I was going to say, first off, I just want to apologise to Rich for the tap into the, sort of 4th to last corner, whatever it was. I was catching him quite a good pace, but I just misjudged it in terms of where I was braking, where he was braking. I should have given him more space, so apologies, because that annoyed his race and dropped him down a few positions, so sorry, Rich, that was a bit poor. And then Mike apparently said that, Mike Mooney, that when he was going in the pits, he was right on the inside and indicating right. I couldn't see his indicator, so I was right behind him battling for position. And as he was going into the pits, I literally just caught his rear. I didn't even notice I'd caught it, but apparently I did. And he went straight, but it caused him to get a stop-go, because it put him over the speed limit. So I feel a bit bad for a couple of reasons.
A strange incident where you can't really get that one. Yeah, it's strange.
At the start, I don't know, I'm just really baffled, because I thought I was bang on, but I obviously can't have been because I got the drive-through. But all of a sudden I sort of looked round and thought actually there was quite a gap sort of to me, then back to sort of Adam and Alex at the start. So I kind of waited as we were in that last corner. I thought I'd waited enough, but maybe I hadn't. But yeah, from then on it was just to try and recover, really. But obviously I had that touch with Rich, and I hit the barrier at the outside of the last corner in the first stint, so I had about 8 seconds of damage. So the first stint I was just driving as fast as I could but managing it, and then I was just a toss up, do I repair the damage or not? And I thought I wouldn't get Wes. I thought the best I could get was 4th, so I thought I'll repair the car so I'm as quick as I can be in the second stint. And then luckily Wes's tyres completely went towards the end, and I managed to get him. But it's a bit of a, I don't know. In a way, it was a good race to come back from, but obviously a few incidents I'm not that happy with. So
yeah. So from our point of view, it was really exciting and entertaining. But was it, I assume, slightly frustrating on your side of things?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't say frustrating. I think just more disappointing in terms of how I got the drive-through at the start, and I was a bit kind of like, what the hell? It's like surprised. But from then on I was like, well, I've got two choices. I either be miserable about it and throw my toys out of the pram or get on with it. So I thought I better get on with it. I thought, well, it's 2 hours, at least it's that race. But it is annoying that it was the double points, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have really good pace here, really good pace, and I think I could have been up with Adam and Alex, but it's what it is, really. As I say, it's not so much frustrating just for me, it's frustrating for the fact that I've obviously impacted Rich's race, which is more disappointing. So
yeah, that's understandable. I'm sure Rich will be fine with it. I'm sure there'll be no hatred. So I'll pass back over to Mike.
Yeah, cheers, mate. So just have a word with Mr. Damien Humphries, if I can, and that looked from what I saw one of your better races. You didn't get tagged from behind in the first corner like you have a habit of doing. And you had plenty of good battles as well. From what we saw, we caught plenty of that on stream. You and Rich were having a ding dong for a while, and Matt Heaton, I think, was there with you guys as well. So yeah, just take us through your view on things.
It was a really interesting race, really, because it ebbed and flowed quite a lot. With the tyres and things, they'd grain for a bit, and then the car would come back to you a bit. The Lexus was, even though I've got it set up a bit oversteery, when the tyres go, it understeers terrible, so you're having to push it around the corners and things. But so I did struggle with that tonight quite a lot. My pace really dropped off kind of the second half of the first and the second stint. And I think Rich was about 10 seconds behind, then he pulled it back to about 3 or maybe even 2 seconds just before the pit. And then when he came out, he was in front of me. And then for a good 20 minutes, we were kind of toe-to-toe. And then the three of us all closed up with Heaton. And I thought, I'll just back off a bit here because this is going to end in tears, I think, going into the faster corners. And it is really tricky to overtake on this track safely, because even if you're carrying the speed, you've got to get enough past before you can stamp on the brakes and that, without obviously putting somebody else who's going to go on the grass and then come and collect you. So I enjoyed it. I'm sweating. I'm not doing it again next week. I'm looking forward to a sprint.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours. It might not sound like a lot to people who watch racing week in, week out, and think, they do 6 hours at Le Mans and stuff. But let's be fair, we're not pro racing drivers. We don't spend all of our week in the gym training. So 2 hours on a sim is hard work for people who've been at work all day and have got 3 kids at home and then got to jump in a sim. It's 2 hours is a long race for us people.
Headphones as well, so 2 laps from the end my headphones died, so I had no sound either, so I was making wah, wah noises so as I was driving, just so I could make it to the end. But yeah, it's, you got to do these things with pros.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, top 10 double points, you got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it. I had some good battles. That's kind of the metric for the races, really. It's like if I'm having scraps with people in and around my pace, I know I'm not as quick as the front lads, and I'm not likely to be anytime soon. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Happy with 10th. Happy with the good scraps I had with a few people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, mate. I just got to ask, sorry, Dougie, I'm just going to ask another one just while I got it in my mind before I forget. I'm going to bring Matty Heaton in because of that really cheeky double overtake that he did while he was following Adam through the blue flags. Oh, that was class, mate. Great fun to watch.
Thank you. Yeah. Part of me was like, should I do it? And then I just gripped up because I lost the back end coming through the corner, and then it just gripped up, and I was right up behind Adam, and I thought, shall I do it? And I was like, you know what? We'll go for it. And honestly, it felt so good to be able to get back past him, but at the same time, I was like, that was so cheeky. I don't know if I should have done it.
You had your fan club in the comments tonight, mate. You had everybody supporting you along.
I was going to mention. They've mentioned saying that Michael was having a bit of banter with you and having a laugh in the stream.
Well,
so I look forward to watching it back.
He said Rich's move into the chicane wasn't on, and I was like, it was. I said he just cocked up his braking.
Yeah, he was saying he's not into.
Any other driver would have pulled it off. Any other driver would have pulled it off. It's just Rich couldn't. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking, of course. But no, cracking battles between you guys, particularly for those. I think it was a good 10-15 minute period. You three were all sort of heel and toe and battling each other, and it looked really good fun. So good fun from your point of view, Matt.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. I mean, to manage to get up to 9th. Look, did Damo run out of fuel? Yeah, you suddenly started going really slow, and I was like, I reckon he's run out of fuel there. I reckon I've got another spot. And then I started panicking about more fuel. But to get up to where I was from where I started, I was really happy. Kept it clean for the majority of the race. It was amazing. I really loved it. And then when I had contact with Rich, I was absolutely devastated because I wasn't really sure what was going on, who was at fault, whether it was a racing incident, because I wasn't completely in control of the car. And obviously, Rich had sort of gone over the chicane. And I was gutted to the point where I was concentrating on my race, but for the rest of it, I was also proper urging Rich on to try and gain some spaces back. But
Yeah.
I could see that I was pulling away from him and Alan, so I was just sort of relaxing a bit at that point.
That's good to you, though. It's nice that you guys have all got that kind of relationship where you're, supporting each other in those situations and not ripping each other's heads off, if you see my point, which we sometimes see in other leagues. But no, you drove well, and you gained more positions than anybody today. I think it was 10 positions in the end. I think you gained. So whereas the next nearest was 4, so you gained more positions than anyone. So well done to you, Dougie. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, my next person I'll speak to is Rich. How was that race for you? It appeared from the outside probably a bit frustrating.
There's so much to talk about, but yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely shattered. My wrists are hurting, my back's hurting, everything's hurting. I literally pushed that car for 2 hours, non-stop. First of all, Dom, no dramas, man. It was one of those things, not a problem. Thanks for the apology, and you let me back through, so all is good. But I spent the first half of the race chasing Damo down, and it was just relentless. It's like I'm gaining him, I'm losing on him, I'm gaining him, I'm losing on him. So I was pushing that car for an hour until the first pit stops and got out in front of him. And then I was chasing Matty whilst trying to get away from Dom. So Damo, sorry. So yeah, I'm just absolutely done in. The tyres never really gave up on the car. The car didn't feel like it was running for 2 hours. So it was me that gave up, not the car. So yeah, I'm just really tired after all that, and I think the Matty incident was just similar. I came on the outside of him, coming down the straight towards the chicane, and I think we were fairly level, but I looked left to my braking point and I couldn't see because he was in the way. So I completely misjudged the braking point.
Actually, it's Matty's fault.
No, not at all. No. To be fair, the move wasn't on, but I was tired and frustrated, and I ended up I did something I probably shouldn't have done. So completely my fault, and 12th place was down to me.
No, fair enough. Go and get yourself a nice beer now.
I've already got one going.
Already got one. That's all right. Beat me to it. There you go, Mike. I'll pass back over to you.
Yeah, I think we just got 2 left to speak to by my calculations. So, Lloyd, you and Ash, I mean, the first half of the race you were battling with Wes, I think, and then the second half of the race you were battling with Ash for the entire thing, so you must be absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I've spent a race ever actually battling people. Normally, have a little battle and drop back, or they drop back or something, and it was tiring. And yeah, like Rich, my wrist is absolutely killing. God dear. I think it was 40 minutes in. I just thought, oh man, I could really do with stopping now. But held out. The wrist, once it hurts so much, you just live with it and kind of forget about it. So it's all right now if I don't move it. So hopefully for next week it'll be okay. But exhausting race. It was interesting having Wes behind me so much, and I think it went to Dom's point about, or Damo's, about just trying to pass people here is just so hard. I couldn't believe I was actually keeping him behind me, to be honest. It was coming out of T1 that set you up for the rest of it, and the reason I lost the places in the end really was just I couldn't consistently get T1 without the back end just creeping out a little bit and slowing me down. So I'd say my success rate was about 35% with that T1, and that's where I come back to Ash and managed to go side by side into the chicane. I actually backed out, but I don't think he thought I was going to back out, so he it didn't go off so much as kind of took an odd line, and just managed to capitalise on that. But yeah, we sort of went backwards and forwards with each other. But I think for me, just being in the position I was, even coming out of the pits up in front of Wes, it's just like, wow, really, really happy. Amazed with Dom, how the hell he come back. I think I saw about 37 minutes on my clock, and he was about 13 seconds behind.
Yeah.
I just thought, no, he can't be coming back from that. But yeah, I think me and Ash just kind of slowed each other down a little bit, and when he went past, it just kind of showed how good a driver he is. His lines were just so solid. There was no sliding around. So yeah, it was good to watch. But yeah, great race, but just exhausting, absolutely exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, most of that second half of the race was me doing maths and working out whether Dom could get on the podium or not, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I
was working out, hang on, he's made this many seconds in this many laps, and this is how many laps are left, and it was basically a maths lesson. But no, stellar driver, and you're up there now battling, with the big boys. That sort of second group, if you like, with Ash and Wes. So you're there and thereabouts now, and I've been for a couple of races. So it's great to see the progression in your driving, and I think we said that in comms as well. It's great to see you developing and getting closer to them week in and week out. So well done. Definitely.
I mean, Ash is probably the guy that I would say I'm a little bit slower than. To get past him with double points, yeah, that's a win for me.
Yeah. Definitely drove well, and it was good. Like I say, the battles kept us entertained for a long time. So well done to you.
Cool.
Last driver then, Dougie, for you to ask is Mr. Morris, I believe.
Definitely, I've lost my brain power for any new and unique questions. So how was that 2 hours for you?
Well, I really just came in to make sure you knew I was racing, because I was kind of in a world of my own all race, to be honest. But I think the Warrior was going to be fuel all the way through that race, I think, for most of us. And I made a bit of a cock up at the start and put on the formation lap, I went the wrong way on the toggle. I went to map 11 instead of 1. So that for the first whole stint, I was in the wrong map, but it sort of sorted the fuel out for me. So, and I don't, to be honest, I don't think I would have kept up with the guys in front. I don't think I've lost out at all. I had a massive gap in front and behind, so P7 with double points is a really good result for me, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we called it in comms, didn't we, Doug? Probably your best drive since your reverse grid win in the Spa race last season. So, we did notice you were there, don't worry.
Sort of just ahead of the midfield pack I've been with all year with like Matty and Rich and Alan. And it was quite comfortably 7th. Shame about Mooney getting the stop go, because I think we were pretty level on pace. And after that, I was just cruising, to be honest.
Yeah, well, well done to you all. Just so you're aware, we gave what's his name, Guido, the driver of the race, give him a bit of kudos. 7 laps down, still out there fighting with every corner. And we thought that was just stellar, because we all know how easy it is to throw your toys out the pram and turn your machine off. So I thought we went in a slightly different direction this week and gave it to Guido, because I thought he did superb to finish after being...
Yeah, to echo that, Mike, I think even me and Alan said over our comms, sort of, fair play to him for carrying on, because, we went past him a few times, and it's like, actually, absolutely hats off to the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a steep learning curve, ACC, particularly on PC, so it's not easy for these guys, and when you're new to it as well, it takes a lot, and to finish an endurance race like that, when you're so far behind, it takes a lot of cojones, as the Americans would say. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to all you. Well done to Alex for another great victory. Adam pushed him all the way. Dom, great recovery drive. Shame about the 2 incidents, otherwise I think it would have been a great three-way battle for that lead, but it wasn't to be this week. Thank you all to all of you who tuned in, and all the drivers who took part, everybody who's jumped in the comments box, and of course Aaron and Dougie for joining me as usual. And we will see you next week at Brands Hatch. I'm really looking forward to that. Great track, and one we all know well from our touring car days. So we'll see you then.